Hello and welcome to episode 108. Wow, we got a little bit of feedback.
Hello and welcome to episode.
My bad.
He's already screwing us up over here, ain't he?
Oh, I had to close my YouTube. I had to close my YouTube window because I subscribe on YouTube to TNA Top 10 and set my notifications and alarms. So when y'all go live, I'm there.
All right. Well, let me explain what just happened. So I'm T Weave as always. This is episode 108 of TNA Top 10. Alison is not with us today, but Andrew is. How's it going, Andrew?
The Yankees won. We're bouncing back. Aaron Boone's decided to wear a uniform. More on that later.
Okay, more on that later, but the Phillies are playing the Mets, so one of them has to lose. And with us today, instead of Alison, is Pondwater Dave. You've already, and I messed up his name, Pondwater Dave. You've already heard his voice because we had the little bit of a mishap at the start, but he is one half of the hosting combination of Pondwater and Amy from one of our favorite shows, Talking Rasslin with Pondwater and Amy. How's it going, Dave?
Doing great. I was just couldn't wait to get here and torpedo your show right out of the gate.
That's right. Well, you know, I've been on shows before that, you know, when I join some kind of show or some kind of meeting at work, I expect to be muted when I come in. But I've been accused of heavy breathing when I come in, so I
That's what he said.
But anyway, tonight
I seen it coming.
because we've got Pondwater Dave on here, we have planned this top 10 list for over a year, I think. We're going to do top 10 chips, and I didn't say potato chips. And honestly, chips is probably a stretch, but we're going to do top 10 chips tonight.
This will be fun. This is my
But
life.
no
y'all.
pretzels.
I gotta say that you could do top 10 pretzels. I don't know how you get as many flavors of pretzels now as you have, but
I will talk about my favorite chip, which is actually it's 4 chips, but we'll talk about it later. I cannot wait for this. Because Terry banned pretzels from the list. We're not doing all the different brands of Cheetos.
Last week.
Terry says we're not going to do all the Cheetos, and then there's 17 options for barbecue on this list.
Well, hey, that's not my fault. I went to the websites and got their lists. Now, David told me that he has some, like, I don't remember what they're called, but like
it's a planogram. I could have just showed you them all.
Yeah, so I did not ask him for that, but I did find lists of products online. The first thing I did was looked up. I think I got to explain the process every week to explain what's on the top 10. But I looked for the top producers of chips in the United States, and there were like 4 big main producers. And I'll honestly say that 2 of the 4 didn't come anywhere close to the top 10 here. So
No,
we won't be talking about them today.
I'm gonna tell you, Frito-Lay almost went extinct during World War II, and the only reason they survived is Herman Lay really lobbied hard and had a congressman's ear, and they convinced Congress that potato chips were an essential food, and they were able to keep producing during wartime.
I bet there's the Food That Made Us episode about that.
That's how I know it.
That is one of the great. I mean, I love those types of shows. Those are
I thought this was an orientation thing. To sell Frito-Lay chips, you have to know these things.
Is there
no. But one of the things we did here in orientation was, a janitor came up with Flamin' Hot Cheetos, and he's not a janitor anymore. And then they made a movie. But then they made a movie about it. I guess they told the story so much, somebody decided to make a movie about it.
I would say he's a billionaire now.
Yeah. Eva Longoria is in the movie, not to be confused with Evan Longoria, who you'll probably talk to sometime in the baseball.
Oh, that's funny.
And Allison's not here, like we said. She's cruising, so good for her, getting some time off and enjoying herself.
So no time restrictions. Y'all are going to be up late tonight.
That's right. We got Mike Bover in the chat already talking.
Yeah, he had game-winning goal in my game this afternoon. The not hockey. Yes. Understood.
So Bober's talking about floor hockey, or I guess that's the name of it.
Yeah,
I don't
floor
know
hockey.
what we
Like
call
we used to play.
high school PE.
Yeah, like we used to play in gym class. I was totally blown away when I found out he doesn't skate. Legitimately, totally blown away.
I just remember having to do push-ups because I high sticked. That's all I remember about it.
I got
Ball-
accused of
Okay,
being
thank
a
you. I will call it the right thing. I wasn't sure.
ball.
I didn't know he played ball hockey. I thought he was out there skating on like an adult league.
We thought so too. but
We
then
thought so
found out.
too. I was completely blown away when I found out he plays ball hockey.
Hmm.
But I will say this: when I played floor hockey or whatever you want to call it, without skates in gym class, I often Terry found myself in the penalty box, either running laps or doing push-ups for being a bully. Apparently, you're not supposed to take people down in hockey, even though I saw it on TV all the time. So that's just another reason I dislike hockey.
I played indoor soccer, which is a lot like hockey. It's a lot like hockey, but just with soccer ball.
Is that
Now,
with a heavy ball? Did y'all play a heavier ball?
No,
What's that
same.
called?
Mm-mm.
Okay.
The goal area was smaller,
Okay.
and I was the goalie, so I appreciated that. But
Yeah, Cyrus hadn't played in the official games. He's done some practice kind of stuff during the winter with that.
they call it 40-yard indoor war.
But it gets exciting, yeah.
Yeah, I mean it never
Slamming it off
stops.
the wall and stuff.
Yeah, and subs run in and out, and
Oh, that's cool. Yeah,
it's
we're getting ready. I don't know if y'all have seen this, but apparently I like spending money for good causes. I I filled out a form today for this athlete to athlete thing, where you match up your young athlete with a college athlete, and you pay them to mentor your child. So we have been matched with someone. I won't mention his name or anything. We hadn't talked to him yet, but pretty soon we're going to have a discussion with him and figure out how this is going to work. And you know, you can buy all the skill training things on the internet that exist, but if your brain is not in the right place on that field, it's not going to matter. And that's what we're trying to focus on.
Mm-hmm.
That's
Focus
pretty
on
cool.
focus. Yeah. Terry likes to spend money, and he loves to
I
spend
do.
money on his child, who's a very good soccer player.
And there's Amy.
Oh, yes. Amy, the other half of Talking Rasslin with Pondwater Dave and Amy.
Yeah, and we'll talk about her in a little bit when we get to the Blame Terry slide, but you know.
Damn barbecue chips, I'm telling you. Stop it. Barbecue chips, and he left sour cream and onion off the list. So that is another piece of the Blame Terry slide that he probably didn't mention. Plain sour cream and onion chips did not make the list.
I don't know, man.
Pringles did.
Yeah.
Pringles did. Cheddar sour cream did. Ruffles did. Plain
Kettle.
ass sour cream and onion chips did not make the list.
The kettle did, and the Cape Cod didn't.
See? Blame Terry. Blame Terry.
We'll mention all these again when we get to the Blame Terry slide. I've only got one picture of one thing because all of these complaints showed up when we hit the live button. So, you know,
we'll talk about an off-brand chip that I wanted to try so bad that I took a spare shirt to work with me. So when I got off work, I could change shirts and go buy those chips. It's kind of a big deal when you buy they're not the I had one of the salesmen one time tell me that he was my competition. I said, I'm going to tell you why you're not my competition. Because if you were any kind of competition, we would have already bought your company.
That's right.
Yeah,
well,
like WWE and AEW.
You're going to notice how big of a company Frito-Lay's is when we get to the top 10. That's all I'm going to say. But
I know it's the third largest food and beverage, PepsiCo. It's the third largest food and beverage company in the world. And I know that because when I'm saying like, damn, we're the third largest food and beverage in the company we're in the world. You think that we could do something about people breaking in there and stealing our trucks every weekend.
Oh, no.
So Alison is not here. The producer is not here to do her producer's pissed segment. I'm going to step in for that, but I'm going to save that for a particular point in the show later. But before that, let's talk about the baseball, Major League Baseball. And I think I've got did we talk about the Devers trade last week? I think I didn't take it out of the notes.
We did, but Devers hit a home run off of Boston yesterday. Kyle Schwarber,
man,
update on
sweet
today's
revenge.
game. Up to date on today's game, Schwarber just sent one 432 feet for number 24 in the season. Phillies hitter, Terry's friend. He wants both teams to lose because it's the Mets and the Phillies, both of which are stupid, but both teams cannot lose. So
and that leads pretty well into the National League, and the Mets and Phillies are tied for the East lead at 46 and 31, and they're playing tonight. So, you know, when you usually hear Andrew just cut into the most important parts of the show with some Yankees update, tonight it will be a Mets and Phillies update.
Well, how about the Mets with the back-to-back home runs yesterday? Only the 10th time in their franchise history that's happened.
That happened?
Crazy.
Yeah, back-to-back. They kicked the compound crap out of the Phillies yesterday.
Oh man.
Shows how much I watched.
We need a split series, one way or the other. Nobody needs this week.
Let's talk about who they didn't kick the crap out of, and that's the Atlanta Braves, because we had a stellar piece of base running by Juan Soto last Friday. And apparently he didn't realize, as a professional making $765, that when there's a pop out into the outfield and you're on base, you have to tag up. And then when he realized the mistake, he didn't even try. He didn't even walk back to the base. Whatever he was doing, it was fabulous. It was absolutely fabulous.
So I've got an important question. Alex Wheaton just said it was a great game. Very important question for you, Alex. Who's your team, Alex? We want to know.
Yeah.
So let us know in the comments.
I just watch baseball all the time.
Was the Inside the Park Grand Slam this week? Because sometimes I see stuff on viral videos and on the TikTok
TikTok's really bad about showing you.
And they may show me some shit that's 5 years old.
I don't know, but this is what I do know, and Bober can help me out. Yankees, see, God's team. Everybody loves the Yankees.
I was afraid he was a Mets fan, and our number one fan that's been the most supportive of anybody was a Mets fan, and I completely trash him all the time.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't apologize for it. I trash the Mets every day. Anywho, so I forget his name, but he's the outfielder for Pittsburgh. He missed the ball fielding it yesterday, let it go all the way back to the wall, and the batter got a triple on basically outfielder's indifference. Like, the guy wasn't even trying to get the ball, and it's one of their big players in Pittsburgh. I think he's trying to get traded. Bober, help me out. Who's your outfielder trying to get traded in Pittsburgh?
That's what it looked like on that In the Park Grand Slam, is that the guy lost the ball. It was, I guess, an indoor stadium, and he lost the ball, and when it came down, it hit the wall and stayed in, but it wanted the left or the right fielder is the one that got it, because it's like the center fielder he didn't even make an attempt to run after it.
O'Neal Cruz. It was O'Neal Cruz. I knew I'd think of it. It was O'Neal Cruz, and I mean, it's a playable ball, and it would have been a double, and then it was a triple, and it was. I mean, there was no effort. Like, the Pittsburgh Pirates have given up. At least the Rockies are still trying to win baseball games.
Are they?
But the Pirates have apparently just given up altogether.
I will say this, as somebody that played center field at one point, center field is much harder than right or left field, because in right field or left field, the ball is going to move toward the line. Just the physics of the spin of the ball, the way the bat hits the ball spins in a way that goes toward the line. There is no line to go toward. If you nail it dead center, it is very difficult to figure out how deep that ball is going to go, because it's coming just straight at you. I'll give you an example. I was in high school. I went to Brooks High School near Florence, Alabama, in Killen. For those, probably nobody listening to this knows anything about that. But when I was a senior, I played against Josh Willingham, who had a pretty lengthy major league career. And he was batting, and I was playing center field, and he drilled one over my head, and I froze because I had no clue how deep he hit it, because it was straight over my head. And it is very difficult to figure out how deep it's going if you don't have any kind of bend in it. And he toasted me. That was the most embarrassing moment of my high school baseball career. Way over my head. Made me look like a fool. Anyway.
I played left field.
I
played
right
third,
field
but
and
we had such a
catcher.
slow team. I ended up in center.
They
Yeah,
moved
I
me
played
up to
right field
shortstop,
and catcher.
and I love play. Once they moved to shortstop, I love playing infield.
Yeah.
So there's another story. I played right field and catcher till I was in like 6th grade. And then I used to run the bases and I'd run the catcher over. And apparently it was a little too rough. So then we started playing football.
Yeah, they're not real keen on that in youth league.
Don't block the plate. Here I come. And this is in the 90s. I mean, we just ran
Right.
people over. We didn't care. But no, I played right field because I wasn't a great fielder, but I had a good arm. So even if I didn't
Right.
catch the ball, I would get it back into play. And I played catcher because I wasn't afraid of the ball.
Well,
You
my
hit
deal
me
was
with
I
the
was
ball
a
in
third
your hand.
baseman that forgot how to throw it to the first baseman. So I sailed it over the first baseman's head one too many times, so they put me in center field.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it's funny how that stuff works out. Like I said, I couldn't field very well, but I could. But I also am not getting paid $765 million to play right field. So, but I could gun it, and I mean, I could gun it, and I threw several people out at home from right field. But
That was
no
always
hop,
fun.
no hop, no cutoff, man. You better be looking for it because it's coming. But
Well, so to get back to the updates, like I said, the Mets and Phillies are playing right now, and they're tied for the East. The Cubs lead the Central still at 46 and 31. Dodgers lead the West at 48 and 31. The Braves swept the Mets, like we said, 7 and 3 in the last 10. But Chris Sale, the ace of the staff, broken rib, currently on the 15-day DL, but that's going to be a little lengthier than that. So this 7 and 3 might balance out moving forward.
yeah, that run with the broken rib with the pitcher ain't happening.
No, it's tough.
Yeah.
Why don't we
No,
talk
that's
about American League, Andrew? The Yankees still on top, 45 and 32.
2.5
What's been
games
going on?
up. Yeah, they're 2.5 games up right now because they've got on a losing streak. And this is what the Yankees have decided to do. The best offensive baseball team in the AL decided not to swing the bat or at least hit anything for like a week. And, I mean, Judge went 1 for 14 against Boston. The one was the home run they still haven't found the ball from because he went deep over the wall. But they lose the Angels 3 out of 4, and all of a sudden they got their shit together, and they beat Baltimore 2 out of 3, and they beat the brakes off Baltimore yesterday. It was 9-0, and today they had a four-run inning comeback. Your stupid Mets, Terry, are making fielding errors, and Philly is now up 2-0. Stupid Mets. Anyway,
I hate the Mets just a little bit more than I hate the Phillies.
That's what I'm saying. They're
Little
Terry's
bit.
stupid Mets. He's got ownership of calling them the stupid Mets. So that's why we credit Terry with that. But anyway, the problem for the Yankees this week has been hitting. Max Fried threw 112 pitches in a loss. You can't lose when your ace is on the mound. Don't lose the ball game. Certainly don't let him throw 112 pitches and lose to Baltimore, who is in your division. Warren went deep today. Schmidt went deep yesterday. So the pitchers are pitching. It's, the offense has gone cold. However, because I'm a numbers guy, trending statistically, the worst month the Yankees have had in every season under Aaron Boone is June. And then they light it up. So, I don't know. They got 3 with the Reds, 3 with the Athletics, and then we're on to the All-Star break. So, anyway, Judge, I put his numbers in here because they're still absurd. 367, 27 home runs, 61 RBIs, 1.195 OPS. Leads baseball in every statistical category except home runs, I believe, and now maybe RBIs. So, 2 out of 10 or 11 measurables, he's not number 1 in. Cal Raleigh hit home run number 32. That's the switch hitting catcher for Seattle, for those of you playing along at home, who should be the star of a baseball movie one day. What happened? Oh, no. Alex is letting me know it's 5-0 now. Stupid Mets losing to Philly 5-0, Terry. As I'm on my
Hey,
diet.
as long as they split the series, nobody needs to sweep. Nobody needs to dominate the East. The Braves are 10 games out. Keep them within distance. Let them light it up in the second half.
See, the Atlanta Braves became my team by default because we had their farm club here, the Mississippi Braves.
That's right.
And I don't know, man. They just kind of got the residual heat when the Braves left.
Yeah.
They left us. They said, hey, we're going to have our next year, we're going to celebrate our 20th season at Trustmark Park and come and join the fun. And it'll also be our last season at we're moving. And I'm like, well, screw y'all. Y'all just broke up with me. You're dead to me. And it's kind of jumped off a little bit on the Braves. I want to say I don't hate them though. I mean, but I want to.
Right.
I feel
it was like in Huntsville, we had in the 80s. It was perfect. We had the AA team for the Oakland A's in the 80s. Jose Canseco came through. Carney Lansford came through. You know, Todd Van Poppel was here and didn't make it much farther than here. But Canseco hit some huge bombs in Huntsville for the Stars. But then eventually the Stars became the AA team for the Brewers. And who gives a shit about the Brewers? Not me.
Yeah. Well, we've replaced them with the Mississippi Mud Monsters they're in the Frontier League.
Okay.
So they were in Schaumburg for Father's Day. So I would have took my daughter and her husband to a game here, but they were playing the Schaumburg team, and that's what that league, but it's a lot of fun. It's we got a cool mascot, and the team owner is real personable. He comes out and shakes everybody's hand, thanks us for being there. And
that's always good. I mean, we did the top 10 minor league baseball mascots. Seems like a year and a half ago or something like that.
That was a lot. That was fun. That was a good one.
That was a really good one because I learned things I didn't know. And like my son lives in Pensacola now. He's in the Coast Guard. There's a AA team down there. He's going to check them out. And it's always fun and just kind of goofy. It's not Savannah Bananas level of goofy, but it's minor league baseball, and there's nothing like it anywhere. But to continue the updates, the Tigers lead the Central 49-30, 49-30, and the Astros are still leading the West 44-33.
Tigers arguably have the best pitcher in all of baseball in Skubal. The only guy the only guy I think, well, he won the Cy Young last year. He's the only one I think is going to give Fried a run for his money, or Fried can't beat for the Cy Young. Fried had the chance the other night to be the first in MLB to 10 wins, and he went 113 pitches and they lost. Apparently, Pittsburgh beat the Rangers today 8-3, according to Gianni. I was looking to see who was pitching, because if it was Skeens, good for him. They need all the help they can get for Paul.
Interleague play.
What was it?
That's interleague play.
Yep.
Yeah.
The funny thing is, interleague play has just become a thing lately.
They don't make a big deal about it
because, like when they first started doing it, it was like this weekend is interleague play, but now there's always an interleague series going on.
Yeah, when you guys said that, I was like, "What?" I think it's a big deal. I'm good for it.
It used to be a huge deal, but I mean now it's like, who cares?
My daughter went to Atlanta. They went to Atlanta to watch a game against Boston.
Mm-hmm. Yep. Yeah, the Braves play the Yankees the end of July. So at Truist Stadium. But anyway.
Well, and that's a nice setup. I don't know anybody that's been there, but the way they have built this stadium, the Braves moved out of Atlanta, moved north, moved toward where they figured out where most of their ticket buyers are coming from. So they moved north of Atlanta. They built around the stadium. And somebody said the other day, it's kind of like a college football tailgating atmosphere where you go early, you go to the restaurants, you go to these other things, and it's really a nice setup.
Yeah, Truist is a nice park, from what I understand. And the sister and her family live down there, and well, close enough to Atlanta to be able to drive. I think they're an hour and a half away. But they've been to Mercedes-Benz, they've been to Truist, and they really enjoy what Atlanta has done for the sports teams down there,
Yeah.
in terms of their venues and their stadiums and whatnot. I do want to ask a question because Pondwater's here, not Alison. So today, Shohei Ohtani made start number 2 for the Dodgers. He's pitching now, and he hit a home run and had like 5 RBIs today. If you're Dave Roberts, knowing the pitching situation in LA, do you pitch the $1 billion bat or not?
So you're asking whether
Would you
Ohtani should
pitch Shohei Ohtani if you're Dave Roberts?
does the National League
Would you let him pitch?
does the National
Would
League
you let Ohtani pitch?
But what I'm saying is, does the National League have a designated hitter?
Yes.
Really?
He's their DH and he's their leadoff batter.
Oh, okay. And how good a pitcher is he?
Well, they won today, but he's not. He's
very good.
His first and second outings have not been good. You can tell they've not been like lights out.
They kind of sped it up. They did speed it up a little bit.
My point was, Terry, he's not pitching like he was when he was with the Angels.
Right.
Because he had the injury, of the shoulder. And the other question is do you let him pitch when he's your designated hitter? And you talk about somebody that can turn a game around. Shohei Ohtani turns a game around.
Could you put him as a closer?
No, they put him as the starter.
What I'm saying, I don't see the issue. I don't see the issue letting your pitcher bat. But what I'm saying is, if it's an issue for you, would you have an issue if they took him from being a starter and made him a closer or a mid reliever?
I wouldn't pitch him.
You wouldn't pitch him at all?
My honest answer is I would not pitch Shohei Ohtani.
I was that way before he came back. So I thought it was a big risk, because he had injured himself. He was coming back from that. But now that he started pitching and he's been okay, I guess you got to just keep going with it at this point. I don't think I would have rushed him back until maybe go through spring training and let him pitch and bat and then start the year that way. But they had injury problems, so they brought him in.
Yeah.
So, I mean, once you get him out there and he seems to be healthy, at this point, I think you just keep going with it.
How's their rotation?
You can't really tell them no. Oh, they're injured. I
guess you got to use him then.
Like Roki Sasaki is now on the 60-day IL for that shoulder injury that he had, the same shoulder injury he had last year. And I don't think it's Kershaw, but it's the other guy with the hair who's a really good pitcher. Glasnow. Glasnow is
the guy with the hair.
The guy with the hair. It's Tyler Glasnow. He's injured right now. Blake Snell is injured right now. They've got Yoshi, who's their number one pitcher, Yamamoto. But yeah, they don't have a lot in terms of who they thought they were going to have when the season started. Put it that way. And the Yankees can relate to that because they don't have Garrett Cole. They got Max Fried and they got Carlos Rodon. And they got Schmidt and Warren, and Yarborough is out with an oblique strain, and they're bringing up a minor league left-handed pitcher tomorrow. And I don't know if he's pitching against Cincinnati, but here we go. Buckle up. But my point is, Dave, that Ohtani is such a game changer with the way he swings that bat that I don't know that I throw him. I don't know that I have him pitch.
Yeah, if you had a good pitching staff, then maybe not. I can see right now that you'd have to, but But maybe if you had the luxury of, I guess I got to ask: is he winning more games with his bats, or is he? Are you going to lose games by not having him pitch? If he's an automatic,
you're going to win more
upset
games.
about this.
Yeah, you're going to win more games with the Dodgers offense than you are their pitching staff, and that's just a fact.
So, I mean, I don't know if you could eventually get to where, I don't know if it hurts a pitcher to be on longer days between starts, if it makes it harder for them, more injury prone. I mean, you know, I remember the days when they just threw them in there and they pitched the whole game. And now those days seem to be gone. Like they got them on this strong pitch count and they're making more money than ever, throwing less pitches than ever. You had somebody in the chat that said LeBron needs to play baseball.
Oh, I saw that. I ignored it because we did a basketball show and LeBron didn't make the top 10 in my list because he's a pussy bitch.
Well, I'm just
Let
saying,
me just say this. If it was a Jimmy John surgery, as Amy said she thought, they would be back a lot quicker than that.
Ohtani pitched 1 inning today, 2 strikeouts, no earned runs, 18 pitches, 12 strikes. So they're not really taking it that seriously because then Kasparis took over for 5 innings. So you're having him do live batting practice?
Well, I mean, the deal is you talked about a lot more injuries, you know, and we talked about that, but every pitcher throws 96 plus now. It is rare to find anybody that throws anything but high 90s. And they are putting a tremendous amount of stress on their shoulders and their elbows. And that's where all the injuries come from. And we were talking about before the show, Andrew and I were talking about closers. You know, it used to be that your starter would come in and he'd throw 90 to 92 for 7 innings. And then you would have 2 guys that threw 96 to 98 for 2 innings. But everybody's throwing that fast now or faster. And that's where all these injuries come from.
Chapman for the Boston Red Sox, who used to play for New York, is their closer, and he's regularly hitting 103 miles an hour. He's got like 43% of the number of pitches thrown over 103 miles an hour belong to him in MLB history. That's insane speed. But what Terry and I were also talking about, Dave, is like I make fun of Devin Williams. He's the Yankees closer. He was highly touted. He came out of Milwaukee. Everybody said he was going to be the guy, and Weaver ends up beating him out for the job. So now Boone has said we're going to use Weaver and we're going to use Williams, and basically which day, you know, who looks better, that's who I'm going to use. Weaver returned and blew a save this week because he came back from injury on a hamstring pull. But Williams won today, took him 16 pitches. But we're talking about load management with your closers, and you may give them an inning. Very few of them get 2. And all of a sudden, we're worried about load management throwing the ball 15 to 20 times.
Yeah.
When the starters trying
Max
to throw as hard
threw
as they can,
113 pitches over 7 innings yesterday. So,
right.
I mean, or day before yesterday, Friday. So that's my
There's
point.
not this discrepancy between the starters and the relievers anymore in speed. So, I mean, why are you trying to save the innings of the relievers these days when you're not? I guess they're trying to do the same thing with the starters also. We're going to end up with, like when I was playing when I was like 12 years old, we had this system because we had these rules about the number of innings pitchers could pitch in a tournament.
That's hilarious.
I'm not. Anyway. Okay, Devin, we're definitely not for children. But anyway, so when we were playing tournaments, we played 6 innings, and what you would do, you would hopefully have 3 pitchers. You would go 2 innings, 2 innings, 2 innings. Major League Baseball is getting to that, where you are pitching 3 innings, 3 innings, 3 innings, and nobody pitches more than that.
Which is why they keep trying to get the rule changed to where they're going to pitch 6 plus 100 or whatever. They got to do can't be pulled out unless they've thrown 100 pitches before 6 innings.
They jack with the game too much. The game's worked well for over 100 years.
It's crazy.
And like today, I was watching the World Series of the College World Series, and there was a pitcher having a problem, and I didn't even know that they let him wear earpieces. Why are they wearing earpieces? The manager tells the catcher says shoots a signal, and that's how the game's played. But you got this guy crying because he can't hear nothing.
Good transition there, Dave. College
It
World
is,
Series.
because College World Series ended today, and man, was it controversial.
Yeah.
Man.
The
So, for
Louisiana-
those that don't know,
Louisiana
Coastal
State
Carolina.
University Tigers. Go ahead,
right,
Terry.
so Coastal Carolina, the Chanticleers, and I learned recently that if you are a college in South Carolina, your mascot must be some form of rooster, apparently. That is a rule. So anyway, if you didn't know that a Chanticleer is a rooster,
It was the
Go
villain
on.
in it was a villain in Rockadoodle with Burt Reynolds.
so also you've got the Gamecocks in South Carolina. So, that's an aside. So I will continue what I was saying though. But the Chanticleers had won 26 games in a row, and they won 2-0 against my Auburn Tigers and made us look silly, and then went on to the College World Series. Didn't lose a game, got to the final. Then LSU said it ain't happening anymore and won 2 games and won the national championship.
Yeah, so Dave doesn't have a viral reaction. We will refer to them as the Louisiana State University Tigers. 2 times out of the last 4 years have won the College World Series, unfortunately.
Yeah, I
SEC
hate it. I hate it.
SEC,
I hate it so bad.
for all the bullshit SEC got for not getting enough people into the World Series, they did end up winning the World Series. So, and yes, Devin, that was something. Not nearly as entertaining as Dave Roberts getting thrown out in the San Diego game.
I don't know. That one,
They threw
that one
two pitch.
umpire-
They threw two pitch. They
did.
threw
The
2
first base
coaches
coach-
out,
Yeah.
and the
First base
second coach
and
didn't
head
even look
coach.
like he knew why he got thrown out.
In the
Yeah.
first inning.
Well, the thing is umpires are so sensitive these days. Like it is absolutely ridiculous.
And the umpire's name was Angel, apparently. So maybe that explains a little bit of it.
Makes it so much worse. It could have been CB though. CB Buckner had an awful game yesterday at St. Louis game. He missed 28 calls. They don't throw the ball that many times and miss 28 calls.
I'm so excited for the automated balls and strikes.
Here's the thing, though, and we'll talk more about it as it gets closer next year. You only get 2 challenges. They're only going to let you challenge twice.
Wait a minute. When they do automated, the umpires are still going to be back there, and you can challenge calls. Oh, I thought the umpires were not going to be calling balls and strikes anymore, and it was all going to be
like a backup plan.
Yeah, they're not ready for that yet.
So it's kind of like tennis.
Kind of like what they did in spring training, where they still had the umpire calling balls and strikes, and you could tap the helmet to say you challenge it, but you only get 2 challenges.
Oh, the funny thing this year is when a player disagrees with the call and they tap their helmet, they're yanking them out of the game.
They get room. You're out of here. Yeah.
They're so
I
sensitive.
personally think that if you're not what's-his-face from the Mets telling them that you got to give us a effing shot and then their ass is in the jackpot, if it isn't that type of level of conversation with the umpire when you're throwing on players, then they just need to quit being such sissies about it.
They need to have an umpire manager that comes out and says, hey, we're going to go with this guy right here. You're having a bad, you're done. Let's go. Pulling them like a pitcher. I mean, I don't see in this day and age why you can't have somebody supervising the game and realizing that this guy sucks. I mean, he's not even close today. We're going to get him out of here.
No. Well, and today, to the point, the Coastal manager goes away. LSU wins 5-3, secures the national championship.
Jesus, I'm so sick about that. I mean, I just hate LSU so much.
So the only Auburn update I've got this week, I found out today that a 4-star linebacker flipped from Auburn to Georgia. So, since Georgia doesn't have any talent over there, they got to flip some of Auburn's guys.
Nebraska secured their quarterback for 26. They got the tight end. And we got Matt Rule with a bull. Yes. If you're watching on YouTube, Matt Rule is with the bull. And the bigger part of that photo shoot was Dylan Raiola looks like he's packed on some muscle. So maybe we can have a quarterback that's more worried about winning football games than pretending to be Patrick Mahomes. or at least hearing about being Patrick Mahomes. So that son of a bitch can throw the ball, and if they can find somebody like Dane Key that can go get it, that's a game changer in terms of a deep threat that they haven't had. So, because he steps in, he went to the Manning football camp, and they're showing the highlights of him getting ready for that or whatever, and he's throwing it 50 and 60 yards on a dime. But you have to have someone that can go get the damn ball. So hopefully we see somebody, because otherwise you're just going to throw it 10 yards at a time. Hopefully get a touchdown. But anyway, Terry, I think, what is today? June 22nd.
June the 22nd.
We are under 70 days away from college football. Under 70. I think we're close to 65.
Here's my summary for Auburn. Auburn is going to be really good in the video game. The question is, are they going to be good on the field?
And Nebraska's just looking to finally win some games, more than 7. I think we got 10 wins that we can lock down this year pretty easily. I like the Pacers because I like Halliburton because he's a wrestling fan, and I like Halliburton for other reasons. So we're going with the Pacers, not the Thunder.
We'll go with the Pacers, and let me tell you, the only reason I knew that Game 7 of the NBA Finals was today was because when I was looking at other stuff on ESPN, that's what showed up.
I'm going with the Pacers because I used to work for Love's, and I see the logo on the Oklahoma jersey, and they're like an ex-girlfriend now.
Halliburton got hurt in the first quarter. Well, there you go. So much for that.
Funny, I know more about the WNBA these days than I do know about the NBA.
Now, I'm going to tell you what, Angel Reese, Caitlin Clark, all of them, they're dumpster fire. Them girls are doing everything they can for attention, and they're not going to get paid any more money, and they're not going to get any more viewers.
Well, Caitlin keeps her mouth shut. She keeps her mouth shut, and all of her talking is on the court.
Well, I will say
she has all the rest of them do that.
I have noticed she has a little bit of a pattern where she'll throw a little bit of a shove and then walk away and expect somebody else to come in. So she's got a little bit of that going.
Well, I mean,
LeBron James is her favorite player, and you can listen to our last episode on the top 10 greatest basketball players of all time and figure out what I mean when I say LeBron James is Caitlin Clark's favorite player.
Well, Sophie Cunningham is a legitimate badass.
Oh, yeah.
She played female football.
A $400 fine?
Oh, my God, that's 6 weeks' salary. but no, I'm saying is that when that Marbury chick, and I think they went back and they made it a flat. I think she got a fine too. I think they finally reviewed it. They finally got enough pressure on them that they did something about her.
Right.
But Sophie Cunningham, she's going to be bodying people, and she knows that Muay Thai. She took her down the front face lock. It was beautiful.
Oh, we're getting there.
And then she became the best-selling jersey in the league. So Angel Reese is right. There is more than one person in the league that can sell jerseys.
There's this account, and I don't even know what it is, but it's an account on Twitter that follows
Angel Reese.
Angel Reese.
Butter pecan.
That's the one.
Y'all got to send that to me.
She thinks that she can copyright Me Bounds, and this guy's already done it. He's selling Me Bound shirts.
Yeah, it's crazy that she and then there's another one where it's brick.
Yeah, I've seen that. And I've seen these guys that are betting every night that Angel Reese misses her first shot. They're putting money on it every
night. Yeah. The problem is the odds have gotten worse, I guess, for the better for the odd that it's going to happen, that she misses that first shot.
Right.
Since they started doing it, Terry, since they gave it attention, that the payoff isn't nearly as good because it happens too frequently.
Oh, yeah.
And apparently she's got a good sense of humor about the whole thing. She's not mad. She's got
also from LSU, Dave. So tell us how you really feel about Angel Reese.
That is the only reason I don't like Angel Reese. It's got nothing to do with anything else she does.
What about Shaq?
Huh? I love Shaq.
Yeah. He's just different.
Shaq had the best thing about being a millionaire. He's like, my kids think they have money, and I have to remind them, no, I have money. Right. That made me laugh so hard. I don't even know why.
But you can't. If you don't love Shaq, there's something wrong with you as a human being.
Like inside the NBA is going away this year,
Oh,
and
it sucks,
you
dude.
had Kenny Smith, Ernie, Charles, Shaq. I mean that
What a
crew right
combination.
there. And
You know,
and
Charles
listen,
Barkley. Charles Barkley played in the first basketball game I ever attended, NBA game I ever attended. I saw
he's
Charles
old.
Barkley, a very young Charles Barkley, and Dr. J was on his retirement tour.
Must have been Philadelphia.
It was. I saw
Yeah.
the Mavericks play Philadelphia. Mavericks were up by 2. Mavericks were up by 2. Time was running out. Dr. J launches one from mid-court, nothing but net. The Mavericks lost by 1. Reunion Arena went from rocking to dead.
Well,
There's
Alison's
a
not
Von
here to
Erich
move
joke
us
there
along.
somewhere, but I'm not going to say it. There's a Von Erich joke there somewhere.
No.
Rocking to dead in Reunion Arena. Somewhere there's a
I
Von
wasn't even
Erich.
going to tie into that.
Let's talk a little bit about WWE now to move along. And we have Night of Champions coming up on June 28th on Saturday. So that'll happen before our next show. And you'll see in a minute that we don't know all the matches yet because we still got stuff going on Raw that's going to decide that.
And they're going to, let's go ahead and just address the elephant in the room. They're going to have to decide if Night of Champions stays in Saudi or not
That's true.
after this week's events.
Pretty
is
dang
not a
close to Iran down there.
Yeah, this is not
They're
a
right
political
next door,
show.
but
They're
Iran's not
right
firing
next
nothing
door.
into Saudi Arabia.
They're right next door.
They're not gonna, I mean, I can see the concern, but man, they're not going to fire anything into Saudi Arabia.
So what would here's the question. So if they decided they're not going to Riyadh, would they just pick somewhere that is available in the United States and do something or just not have the show?
Daly's place.
Wherever Raw is Monday is the new venue.
Well,
You
that's
know?
what I was wondering. Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
like
Or even
genuinely.
move it to Monday and well, I guess they still got to do the matches like what I'm showing here with the King and Queen of the Ring, but I guess wherever the next Monday, I guess is what you're talking about. But
Well, and that's what I'm
Yeah.
saying. You have to have, you got to be very aware. Dave's got a very valid point that Iran has got so much trouble of their own right now. They're not going to go pick a fight with the Saudi Arabians who don't like them anyway. However, I don't know that we've issued a fatwa, is what it's called, FATWA, but now Americans are the target. Anybody in the Middle East and whatever, that's come out on Iranian state television. So I don't know if you want to travel there or not. But and there's a lot of people that, quite frankly, just don't agree with WWE performing in Saudi Arabia,
right.
regardless of the $50 or $60 million payday or whatever.
That's because they're not getting offered the 50 or 60 million.
No.
If they were getting offered the 50 or 60 million, they'd be over there on a camel doing whatever they wanted them to do.
So we talked about this last week. I think CM Punk's the biggest hypocrite in the world of professional wrestling. And then he decides he's going to Saudi Arabia. See, I thought he was a hypocrite before that. And now, he is just justified. Everything I've been saying for the last decade about CM Punk has come to, true.
Well, I mean, it's a strong quote, but did he say it to the Miz?
Yeah, you can suck the blood
With the
off
bloody
of
cock of the Saudi Arabians?
Yeah.
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 That's a hard one. That's a hard one to walk back.
Yeah.
Right.
With somebody you now work with, kind of, and
I'm telling you what, you put enough commas in the payday, and that all that perspective changes.
Well, here's the thing, though, Dave, and you obviously work in wrestling, and anybody who doesn't know, Dave counted Flair's last match, and thankfully we know that was Flair's last match, but he was the man that counted the 3 count Ric Flair's last match. Talking about the wrestling side of it, though, in terms of CM Punk, he's a big enough star. He could say no.
He could, and they're
He's a big enough star. He could say no.
And they're a big enough company. They could terminate his contract.
And here's the other thing, Dave. It don't matter if he goes to Saudi or not. WWE's getting paid.
Exactly.
And his contract is guaranteed. He's getting paid. So it doesn't matter whether he performs.
You don't
in
think that
Saudi
they
or
don't have
not.
some kind of provision about him being uppity in there?
No, I'm not.
You don't think they didn't protect
you're
themselves?
talking about? Oh yeah.
You don't think that CM Punk's
Yeah.
contract? It may be. I bet you there's some provisions he can't. And I mean, he went back to WWE, but I mean, let's face it, he wanted to go back to the big leagues. He burned his bridge at AEW. You think they're taking him back?
Right.
Yeah. Well, no,
I mean,
Tony
He'll just have to
great for his
retire.
life.
He's not going to do anything.
And he's got enough money to retire. I mean,
Yeah.
and hey, and if he doesn't want to go, if he said, I'm not going to Saudi Arabia, but I think that they've put him in that position that I think CM Punk had to humble himself a lot to go back to work for WWE.
Well, the worst part is
Yeah.
if you're actually a wrestling historian, it wasn't Night of Champions where the big part of the story between Cena and Punk took place anyway. It was at SummerSlam. But, you know, that is what it is. So, and that actually was Money in the Bank and SummerSlam. So they've missed two opportunities. It wasn't Night of Champions. But I don't give a shit about CM Punk. I don't like CM Punk. I've never liked CM Punk. I think that, you know, at some point he will once again show who he really is as CM Punk. And that is what it is.
I think I bought this shirt at All Out the night that he got in the fight in the back.
And Devin saying, didn't Sami Zayn have a similar complaints? It wasn't that he had the complaints. He wasn't welcome there.
Yeah, Sami Zayn is actually
Didn't he go last year?
And
though?
he's been
Yeah,
there
he
twice
did.
now. And I mean, he comes out to a hero's welcome there.
Yeah, Sammy is actually a Muslim.
And he's very excited to go now, and they treat him very well. And he went to some sites that he saw things and I mean, visibly got emotional about them. I mean,
that turned out to be a pretty positive thing.
Yeah, I mean, they've done people like for everything that and I'm no Saudi Arabia defender,
Right?
but what I'm saying is the things that they have relaxed on and got better about since WWE started going. WWE has made a positive change on the Saudi culture because now you have the women wrestling, you have the women referees. I mean, those barriers have been broken down. Sami Zayn was welcomed in. That's, you know, so I mean, little by little, there may not be anything else to make a positive change over there, but I do believe WWE has been good for the culture in Saudi Arabia.
Well,
or the public relations, because that shit may be over as soon as they leave town.
Right.
Yeah.
So let's pretend like they're going to Riyadh, or at least this is happening somewhere. So tomorrow night, we will know the other half of both of these matches. Asuka will be in the finals of Queen of the Ring, and Randy Orton will be in the finals of King of the Ring, and they don't know who they're wrestling yet. That'll be decided tomorrow night on Raw. Cody Rhodes goes against Jey Uso, and Roxanne Perez goes against Jade Cargill.
Cody's going against Jay.
Yes.
Yeah.
After just losing the world title, and Cody and Jay are best buddies, having just competed at Night of Champions, or not Night of Champions, Saturday night's main event.
You think there's some kind of smoz with Seth and Bronson and Braun?
I honestly think we finally get Orton and Cody, but they're going to do it at SummerSlam. I mean, I think Cody's going to...
I don't see Cody losing.
No, I think Cody wins, but then Orton attacks him. Well, I guess that doesn't make sense because the winner of this match gets the SummerSlam title match for their brand. So Jay is on Raw, but both Cody and Randy are on SmackDown.
Mm-hmm.
Is this going to be a title match with Gunther?
Title match with whoever the champion is for their brand. So potentially Gunther or Goldberg. Gross.
Or Seth, because Seth's cashing in as soon as that happens.
Yeah.
So Devin says Cody beats Cena for the title. Seth cashes in immediately to get his first win back over Cody.
Yeah, I mean it's Triple H booking. You saw it with Rollins at 15 or at in 2015, and you saw it with Kevin Owens.
So Jay may win it. Jay may win it and go after the Raw, and Cody ends up getting the shot on SmackDown against Cena.
Yeah, but the winner of the King of the Ring gets the shot. So if Jay wins tomorrow, he's going to wrestle Orton, and then the winner gets the shot at SummerSlam of their brand's champion.
Man, this is hard to figure because
For some reason I can't see Jey Uso beating Randy Orton.
And I can't see Jey Uso beating Cody Rhodes. So to me, this is Cody Rhodes to lose.
Well, I mean, even if some weirdness happened on Raw and Jay ends up winning, I can't see him beating Orton. But
here's what's going to happen.
The whole thing.
Here's what's going to happen. Before Jay gets in the ring, he gonna get his ass kicked, probably by the Bloodline. And the reason I say that is I heard they were wanting to put the Usos back together. And then you send Jay out there less than 100%, so it doesn't really hurt him when he loses to Cody.
Yeah.
And it kind of explains why he needs his brother, and they got to go handle the business against Cobb and Solo. And
Fatu. But I think Devin's on the right track. Cody beats Cena. Cena cashes in. Seth cashes in, and we have a SummerSlam Daniel Bryan, Randy Orton repeat, basically. Where Bryan beat Cena for the title, and then Orton beat him immediately after. But that was with Triple H's help in the pedigree. Bottom line is there's no really good options, because if you want Cena to be the main event and the main attraction for the match, you're going to have John Cena beat Cody Rhodes or Jey Uso, because we're not going to get Orton again at SummerSlam. You'll be one of those two.
Brian Ramsey makes a good point too. He says that he sees the Seth crew beating up Jay, so it can be Sammy and Jay going after Seth's crew. That makes sense too.
Well, I don't think we'll see Sammy, in Saudi this year, based on the tweet from last week. But who knows? So I think that's why they beat him, honestly, because a Sami Zayn versus Cody Rhodes match is far more intriguing than a Cody Rhodes versus Randy Orton match, in my opinion.
Yeah,
far more intriguing. But yeah, Asuka's back. Side. That's something we haven't talked about, Terry. Asuka is back.
And all of a sudden now she's in the finals of the Queen of the Ring. And we're thinking Jade Cargill over Roxanne Perez, I would think.
I would think, but I don't think. Because I think that Liv Morgan's injury is probably the best thing in the world that's happened to Roxanne Perez. I think she's on an upward trajectory. I could see Naomi screwing Jade some kind of way so they could keep her strong against this.
Mm-hmm.
But I think that Naomi, Jade, and Bianca are going to have a whole thing. I just think that they're fixing to strap the rocket to Roxanne Perez in Liv's absence.
Roxanne's a very good wrestler. You couldn't have two completely different opposites than Roxanne and Jade. And you could say the same thing about Roxanne and Asuka, or Jade and Asuka.
Yeah, well, Roxanne is your classic chicken shit heel. She's
very good in the ring as a technician. Very good in the wrestling ring.
Like, I'm talking about your Tully Blanchard chicken shit heel. I'm talking about the girl knows her way around the ring. She's well trained. I mean, 95% of what Booker T says when he's overhyping her is true. She's very good.
Mm-hmm.
So Devin thinks that Jade is going to have a Roman level title run after she beats Tiffany.
Yeah, I think Naomi gets in the way. And I hate it because I think Naomi's a charity case in professional wrestling. I think it's a nepotism job. I think that she is there because of who her husband is, and I think her husband is there because of who his brother and cousin are. So that's just my opinion. She's married to Jimmy Uso, for those of you playing along at home.
Yeah. But and I could see Naomi cashing in on Tiffany. And then Jade, if they're gonna put the title on Jade taking it off of Naomi.
Yeah.
That makes sense to me.
Well, I don't know that the Tiffy Time run is going to go well. And I saw, Alexi and Charlotte interacting on SmackDown the other night. And I was like, yeah, whatever. So, but Asuka is back.
And I love that she's doing the Kabuki gimmick.
Yeah. And I always have liked Asuka. And I don't know that WWE has ever used her really, really well. They did in NXT. Let me rephrase. They did in NXT when she was the killer. She literally
she came in and had kind of the Goldberg kind of deal.
500 days, nobody could beat Asuka, and that was the whole gimmick.
The last time I popped at a wrestling match, like out of my seat, excited, was when she tapped out to Charlotte at WrestleMania, because I in no way, shape, form, or fashion thought that was going to happen.
Right.
And it shouldn't have happened. She should have beat Charlotte. That streak should have continued when she got to the main roster.
Yeah.
And
I think they mishandled that. But speaking of Nepo baby, talk about Charlotte Flair.
But let's don't act like she's not great. I mean, Rikishi's lost his fucking mind. I mean, I understood all this.
Jey Uso is an entrance. Let's not. He's a better tag wrestler than single wrestler, and he's an entrance.
I'm trying to show respect to Rikishi. He was talking about how all that with Jay shouldn't have happened, and I'm like, all right, if that wasn't his son, I'm going to give him a little grace because he's emotionally, that's his son. Because if it wasn't his son, he's really starting to sound like a fucking mark. But then you're going to say that Charlotte Flair, he don't think Charlotte Flair is one of the greatest women wrestlers. And I'm like, how, dude, you did, like, how many gimmicks did you go through? And then you got over being a fat guy in a diaper, rubbing your ass in somebody's face, dancing with a mid-card tag team.
They weren't even mid-card, let's be honest.
I mean, you got over it with silly dancing and rubbing your ass in people's faces. The stink face is why you got over.
Right.
Yep.
Yes. Hey, and I'm not saying that he was over with me. I love Rikishi. I know it sounds like I'm bagging on him, but Jesus, man, rein it in a little bit.
But it was an athletic ability in any form.
Next thing he's going to tell us is that Naomi's the greatest wrestler that's ever done it.
God help us all. Proceed with caution is where she lost me. When she actually said that in a backstage promo wearing her caution tape outfit. And I'm like,
I do think that she's a better heel. She's definitely a better heel than she's face.
Yeah. Definitely.
I think opportunities were missed with her. She should have been in the bloodline. She
Let's
should have
move
been in the
along
bloodline because how do you have somebody married to the bloodline that's getting picked on by the heel authority figure on the same show? It don't make no sense. Anyway,
let's move along to a known match. We've got Dirty Dom against AJ Styles.
Yeah, I like Dirty Dom winning this.
I don't see
AJ Styles is on his retirement tour, you know.
I mean, AJ Styles is not going to win any big matches at this point. I said that about Naomi, and then it happened, but AJ Styles is not there to win matches.
Unless the Prince is a huge AJ Styles fan.
Well, that's the only thing. It's like,
because you'll change the title over there and then change it back on the rematch. But Dom, what they're doing with Dom, man, you can't slow. I mean, this is not the time to take that belt off of him.
Mm-mm. And I wouldn't slow play it because they're about to have the biggest baby face in the company. And people hate that when you say that about Dirty Dom. Oh, but it is, I mean.
You see how they already cooled it off? Because it almost happened when he won the when he won his match. I mean, when he won it, it had to come back out and take it.
They've had to dial it back, because they can't deal with it.
They let him go out and take a bow. And then they've apparently walked it back because that's not time. But it's coming. And the best heels in the world become the biggest baby faces. And Dom's on that trajectory.
Yeah, for a long time, I didn't really buy into him. And it's this whole nepotism thing. And I just thought they put him out there because he's Mysterio's kid. And I wasn't real interested in anything he was doing. But he solidified himself.
Oh, yeah.
Well, You talk
worked
about somebody
through it.
who's a better heel than babyface too, is Dominic Mysterio.
Well, Dom, I think it hurt Dom that they didn't just put him in NXT.
Yep.
I mean, like he went to work with his dad.
Yeah.
And I think so. Yeah, and it was 100% Nepo baby, but he's earned his spot.
Yeah. And then I mean, Dom, obviously when your father's one of the greatest, cruiserweights ever, and lucha libre professional wrestlers, innovative, the real creator or godfather of it, along with his real father, Eddie Guerrero.
Yeah, I'm saying no bullshit. He looks more like Eddie than he does Ray.
Yeah, he does. He definitely looks more like Eddie than he does.
He's
Ray.
a lot more interesting to me. He's a lot more interesting to me than the Rey Mysterio character.
Yeah.
I love the kid, and I hated him. I thought he was dog shit when he started.
But I mean, Rey Mysterio is, he's a luchador and a great luchador and very good for what they provide in a show, but he's not really a storyline guy, in my opinion.
No, the best storyline he ever had was when Eddie died. And I mean,
Right.
I don't mean that disrespectfully, but they used the memory of his deceased beloved friend, and they put it up front so he could be the Mighty Mouse guy, and he could conquer everybody,
Right.
including Kurt Angle and Randy Orton at WrestleMania, and he'd have the title run until Chavita, turned on him or whatever. But I mean, that was the most compelling storyline he was in his tenure in WWE.
And honestly, I was a WCW guy. One of the biggest things he's known for in WCW is Kevin Nash picked him up and threw him against a trailer at one point.
Yeah,
Lawn darted him.
Yeah. Yeah. And got the police called and everything. Right. I mean, legitimately. So, yeah.
So I think we all agree that it looks like Dom's going to win this because AJ Styles is just that veteran guy to give you a good match.
But what AJ Styles will do is give Dominic Mysterio credibility in that loss.
Right, absolutely.
Because AJ Styles, I always hear Shawn Michaels could wrestle a broom. Ric Flair could wrestle a broom. 47 or 8-year-old AJ Styles can still wrestle a broom. So, he's very talented.
And JD could come out. JD and Finn could come out. And, I mean, AJ can lose and still look good.
Yeah. Yeah. Because he's going to get outnumbered, especially with his.
And he's above the Intercontinental title.
Yeah, way above the Intercontinental.
Him with the Intercontinental title does not do anything for his career. Taking it off Dom hurts Dom, and at this particular juncture, I don't think it's going to happen. Like I said, unless the Crown Prince said, "Hey, AJ's got to win," and
let's talk about the next match, and this should be pretty damn brutal. We got Jacob Fatu against Solo Sikoa.
Jacob in a runaway for me.
Yeah.
I think it has to be.
I love you, Solo, and I'm going to make you humble.
What happens if Solo Sikoa wins this match? I mean, what does that do?
The only way that he wins the match is if Jeff Cobb interferes. I mean, and then they flat out turn Jacob Fatu a babyface. I mean, it could end in disqualification. They could both beat the living crap out of him.
Because let's face it, not trying to be funny, when you're talking about it, not the clown. Whatever it is, Jacob Fatu has it. Yeah. And Solo Sikoa might have been the guy until Jacob Fatu came into the company. And it is very clear when that red light is on, and here comes Jacob Fatu with the facial expressions. And all of us have had some interaction with him in real life anyway. But when that red light is on and he has the belt over his shoulder the way it annoys Dave because he's almost dragging that thing, and he's got his hat on backward, here he comes with that scowl on his face, and then he talks shit to the camera before he comes out. I mean, it's all business. This is a legit killer. This is what Solo was supposed to be, in my opinion, as a professional wrestling fan. If he was really going to be the right hand of the tribal chief, this is what Solo was supposed to be. But he doesn't have that charisma that Jacob Fatu has.
Yeah, Fatu's got it, and I mean he's believable. He is so damn believable.
and athletic.
Right.
So scary, athletic, somebody as big as he is.
And they need to just let him continue to be the wild beast that he is, because they hurt Solo when they domesticated him.
Mm-hmm.
Solo being the man with the suits, that neutered him, because he was not, because Solo was everything that Solo had the same I don't want to say heat. He had the same
persona to some.
I mean, he was a killer.
Yeah, he was the enforcer.
He was believable.
You know?
It's almost to the point where Solo doesn't have a real role. If Jacob comes in and
he's
just
the Temu tribal chief, it don't
wins
work.
this, at some point, what do you do with him next?
Well, and if you remember at 39, or was it 40? Whatever WrestleMania Cody lost to Roman, it was because of Solo that he lost to Roman.
Right.
And then the next month, Roman and Solo lost to the Usos. And that kind of started that whole thing again. But yeah, I think, and then of course you had Solo notating how many times he's lost. And it was a really good seeds for a storyline, talking about how we don't lose in the bloodline. And then they kind of lost their way with it when Roman went away. You know, and there's been talk on the interwebs about them trying to cut Roman's contract to TKO. Here's my advice, guys. I understand he doesn't show up to work every week, but he was the reason you survived COVID, and that the company did some stupid ass numbers post COVID. So I would leave Roman Reigns the hell alone and just pay him the $15 million and move on. But that's me. That's me, because he's a draw. Big draw. Not like that other company, Terry. They don't have one of those there.
Not in 2025. Yeah.
Not in 2025. Is Dave frozen, or is he just listening very intently?
He's just looking at
I'm listening.
So it sounds like we all expect Jacob Fatu to run away with this, but there might be some shenanigans which would put Solo on top.
Well, supposedly they've signed one of the brothers too. And there's so many members of the bloodline and the Anoa'i family, but they've supposedly signed somebody, and I can't remember who it is. This would be a great place to debut them like they did last year, but they did it last year, so let's not do it again. I also wouldn't take the United States title off of Jacob. That's just me.
Yeah, if they take it from him, if they take it from him, they're going to steal it from him, and this will make him 100% of a babyface.
Yeah. Well, here's the other thing. When he starts doing his little dance and his rap before he gets to the ring, you know, where he talks shit into the camera and then he walks out, you're going to see all them Saudis, you know, on their feet for Jacob Fatu. They're not going to be on their feet for Solo Sikoa, because despite the language barrier, I assure you, they know which one they're supposed to cheer for.
LA Knight was treated like the heel.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
And LA Knight is over. But Jacob Fatu is another level. And that's why I'm always preaching on my show about believability. Believability above all else. That's why Brock Lesnar was so. That's why Jacob Fatu. When you're believable, when you're that you can't poke holes in it when you're that believable.
Mm-mm. Kind of what I like about Bronson Reed.
Very believable. Braun Breaker's so believable.
Yeah. Yeah.
And Solo used to be believable.
Yeah. Yeah, that's his name. It's the big guy.
Did y'all see Cena doing the little punching bag trick at Fanatics Fest?
That was hilarious. Yes.
That was so good. If I'll tell the listeners, you know the game that they have in the bar that you push the button and the punching bag comes down, drops down, and you hit it and get a score? Somebody had Cena to come over to do it. And he hauls off and he throws a beautiful punch. And it doesn't even touch the punching bag. Punching bag doesn't move at all. Then he does it a second time and it doesn't move at all. And then he looks at the camera and goes, 25 years, I've never hit anybody for real. And turned around and walked off. I thought it was the greatest thing.
That's pretty good.
I saw John Cena throw out a first pitch for a minor league baseball team called the Pickles. And what they did was they acted like John Cena was walking out there and there was nobody there. And the catcher acted like he caught a first pitch.
Oh, wow. I saw John Cena go to bat for the Savannah Bananas one time.
Yeah, I did see that too. Oh yeah, and Bober's on the list. Hopefully, Bober, you get in one of the first groups and get some tickets. Because when I got in the groups for the Bananas tickets, I was in row double G of the upper deck, which means 26 letters and then 7 more letters. I was way up there, and it was scary. Hopefully, you're a little bit closer. But the main event here, John Cena, CM Punk. Here's what doesn't make sense to me. They are in Saudi Arabia. They just brought Goldberg back. What the hell? Normally, that's because you're about to go to Saudi Arabia. They're putting
Atlanta,
him on Saturday
Georgia.
Night's Main Event.
Atlanta,
Yeah.
Georgia, 40 years after the fact.
Yeah, it's because it's in Atlanta.
30 years, 35 years, 30.
I still would have expected. The
1998,
Saudis
Dave.
get who they
27
want,
years.
right? Don't they normally want Goldberg? I would have thought he would have been over there.
Yeah. I think it was July the 16th or July the 13th of 1998. Goldberg wins the title over Hogan in the Georgia Dome. Somebody can check me, but it was July of 1998. So I think this is going to suck. Their little interaction at Elimination Chamber was fun. This is all about nostalgia. Phil Brooks ain't got it no more, and neither does John Cena. And we've seen this match enough times. This is the crowd pleaser, the entertainer, and give me John Cena for the win.
With the belt shot to the head.
Yeah, because it's become a joke now, Dave. About that's how he wins every match is with the end with the belt shot, and it's not even a good looking belt shot if we're honest about it. So,
well, I mean, I ain't hit nobody for real in 25 years. Was shoot. That soft ass shoulder tackle he does is what I've hated it for years.
Yeah, but all I'm saying is from the standpoint of the belt shot, they don't have any other finish creatively. July the 6th, okay. Yeah. Not July 13th, July the 6th. Goldberg
and I will say I was in the Georgia Dome July 5th of 1999 for Nitro, and that show wasn't nearly as good. I will just say that. Yeah. It was 6 months after the finger poke of doom.
Well, and even July 6, 1998, they still had to have all the bullshit around it. Kurt Hennig comes to the ring like he's going to interfere. You end up with Karl Malone hitting the diamond cutter on him, because they're setting up the match between Jay Leno and Karl Malone and Diamond Dallas Page and Rodman and Hulk. But they couldn't just have Hogan lose clean. God forbid. John Cena's not going to lose clean either. And he's certainly not going to lose in Saudi Arabia. Now, what will be interesting to me is who the crowd chooses, and I think the crowd picks Cena.
Yeah, probably so. I think so.
I think they boo Punk out of the building because they're not unaware, Dave, of the comments he's made about them. They're not unaware.
This is the first time that he's been there.
Yeah. Now, everybody loves to say, I think that the shoot promo, the pipe bomb, the reverse pipe bomb with Cena doing it to Punk was great because he's like, yeah, you gave a pipe bomb 14 years ago and you've been doing the same pipe bomb for the last 14 years. That was hilarious to me when he did the segment on SmackDown this week. Yeah. And then he talked about, well, they just like to sing your song to the ring, but they'll sing mine too. So good. John Cena was so good on SmackDown.
Hi, Matt Cardona. Hi, Claudio Cascanoli.
Yeah. Supposedly
Hi, Nick Nemeth.
Yeah, Matt Jackson, Nick Jackson, and Colt Cabana or whatever, according to that guy on Twitter. Ibu, the guy who got himself thrown off of Sean Ross Sapp thing for controversial. But the promo I thought was good. And I don't think the match is going to be. I think it's just going to be another John Cena retirement tour match. And we're all stuck in this booking hell until the end of the year.
And he's just, he's past his prime. He's not capable of a barn burner. It's just not going to happen.
And neither is Punk. Neither is Punk. Punk ain't capable of a barn burner either. Go ahead and poke your holes, and I will retort, old man.
No, I'm going to poke my holes in the promo is that it was 6 minutes long, and that chair and that table shot, he shouldn't have been laying on that table for 6 minutes.
So it annoyed you too. I guess I'm an old man too. Let's go yell at clouds together, Dave. Seriously.
This is what I hate about so many people being involved in matches. And yes, I don't know if Bober's still here, but he kind of alluded to that with me. They always have to have somebody laying there for way too long. so that things can happen.
And they had the Slim Jim logo on the table, so they had to show the table. And that's if they never would have showed the table and just let Cena talk, you wouldn't have thought that Punk was still laying in the ring, and it would have been fine.
But when that devastating move happens and the guy gets up 14 seconds later, you know, I mean, it's terrible. Terrible.
So we think Cena's winning because it's Saudi Arabia, and we're not really.
I don't think it's time for Cena to lose that belt yet.
Yeah,
but
I think he's holding on to it.
Or
at least
he
through SummerSlam, right? So,
does Ron Killings interfere and get Punk disqualified?
I hope so.
I mean, there's so much they could do.
Yeah.
There doesn't have to be a clean winner in this.
Right.
No, there doesn't. I agree there. And the thing is the WWE's getting a rep for not being able to finish these matches in the creative. They've always got to have an interference or a DQ or whatever. What if John Cena just beat CM Punk?
Yeah. Punk owes him one.
What if he beat him? It doesn't hurt either of them.
But I think that with Cena's character, he can't win clean.
No, because they're really trying that.
That's true.
It's going to be the belt shot.
Well, and I will tell you this.
It could be he tries the belt shot. Maybe R-Truth stops the belt shot. The referees paid attention to R-Truth. Cena kicks Punk in the ding-dong and gets the win that way.
Yeah, so my thing is about that, like, John Cena was Superman for 25 years, or 23 of the 25 years he wrestled, because he was a heel early. People forget that.
Yeah.
Right.
But what I hate in professional wrestling, and they did the same thing with John Moxley, who we're going to talk about here in a minute, is you take this kick-ass babyface and you make him the biggest bitch on the professional wrestling show. And they've managed to do that with John Cena. And they did it with Moxley.
Terry, put Amy's comment on the screen.
Ding dong.
It's a cock, Amy. It's a cock. He kicked him in a cock.
Man, Pondwater comes over and gets all vulgar like they do on their show, on our show.
Yeah.
Well, I'm aware that, I mean, Andrew's on the show. F-bomb is like the number one. So I'm not even scratching the surface.
System.
Language doesn't offend me. You're welcome anytime, Pondwater.
But anyway, that's the Night of Champions. Obviously, questionable whether they're going over. So a lot yet to be decided. So we'll see
I think they're going.
Yeah.
Without question, they're going.
So let's move over to AEW. I don't have any fancy event pictures, just the AEW logo here, but
that's probably smart because if you put 5 or 6 wrestlers on there, we may not see them for the next 4 weeks.
That's where the best multi-man. We had a 14-man, was it, and a 10-man on the last Dynamite in Mexico.
In Mexico, I watched it. It was, I mean, it wasn't horrible.
Dave, there were 14 people in the ring.
No, the main event was horrible because you had Rick Knox standing in there letting the Young Bucks do double teams. Then as soon as somebody else tried to get in the ring, he went to them. Without doing nothing trying to prevent the Bucks from double teaming. It was the same old bullshit with them, but the opening match was lucha style, and I actually found it pretty entertaining.
So here's the known matches for All In. That's what I focused on in our notes. We got a Casino Gauntlet match.
Yeehaw.
Of the multi-man matches, I like this one better than some other ones. I'll just say that.
But the problem is they use it too often. That's my opinion. That it's a cool concept, but you don't need to break it out every other pay-per-view.
But it's kind of like their...
But you got to, because All In is the poker chips. You got to do it at All In.
So it's basically their Money in the Bank kind of deal, right?
Kind
of. Because they do it too often. Dude, we've seen the Casino Gauntlets on Dynamite, though, Dave. Because
I agree that it's overdone. I'm just saying that on All In and All Out, I mean, for All In, it makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, Double
This
or
is the
Nothing
one
it makes
place it
sense
should
too.
Well,
Yeah.
that's true. Let's have one every pay-per-view. How about
Every
that?
pay-per-view. The stupid Phillies are up 7-0, Terry. But what's going on July 12th, right along with
July
Saturday night
12th.
main event. Yeah.
And we've
In
got a
Texas.
winner-takes-all unified championship between Kenny Omega and Okada.
Kazuchika Okada.
Whoever wins that match has both belts. Unified.
So let's talk a little bit about the creative on this nonsense. Okada brought in as a member of the Elite.
Right.
And is now a member of the Don Callis family officially, which I think is stupid. Can they get Kenny Omega away from Don Callis? I said this last week, Dave. I know you were in the audience. They didn't need Don Callis in the middle of Kenny Omega and Kazuchika Okada.
Kenny Omega does not need anybody.
If you've never seen Okada and Omega 1, 2, 3, or 4, do yourself a favor and just go watch the fourth one. It's a 2 out of 3 falls match. It goes 44 minutes. Kenny Omega, spoiler alert, wins the IWGP Championship as the leader of the Bullet Club in arguably the match of that year that put these guys on the radar to be able to have another wrestling promotion.
When those guys went an hour in the previous matches, when they would go almost an hour, they did not feel like an hour.
No, they flow well. They've got great chemistry. The matches make sense. The counter to counter to counter wrestling is fantastic. I'm not such a fan of all the false finishes and the multiple uses of like the Rainmaker and or the V trigger. But when Kenny Omega hits the one-winged angel, it is ball game. And that crowd in Japan loses their shit. They have yet to prove they can replicate that same sort of match, environment, atmosphere, and experience in All Elite Wrestling when Kenny Omega is involved in any sort of match whatsoever. They have never, ever, ever hit the leather off the ball with Kenny Omega, and it's quite frankly shameful because he's easily one of the best wrestlers in the world, and on that roster, it ain't close.
I thought he did the best work he's done in AEW is when he was champion. I still think he's probably the best world champion they've had so far.
Still not Bullet Club level though in Japan. And I get he's a little older and he's.
I'll be shocked if Kenny doesn't win this match.
Yeah,
I want Okada to win, but they have not. I don't think Okada's been used properly since he got here.
But this plays into the thing I said maybe last week, 2 weeks ago. AEW is a weird mix of very good matches and really gimmicky shit.
Yeah.
Well, and they make poor decisions. Kota Ibushi has returned to AEW from injury. That's the other half of the Golden Lovers. And he is on Collision.
Yeah.
They don't know what to do with people when they get them.
No. I mean, you've got FTR mostly on Collision, you know?
But see, I don't think Tony Khan thinks it's his B show. He just thinks it's his other show.
Yeah.
But it is definitely the B show. Definitely the B show.
When I went to the show, when I went to the matches in Huntsville, Collision was better than Dynamite.
Now, that might be true.
It was.
But the last 5 collisions have been main evented by Adam Cole and Daniel Garcia and a combination of people they're either wrestling against or each other, and both of them suck. So there is no way Collision is better than Dynamite, and Dynamite's a dumpster fire.
Well, but the thing is, it's like what
John
Collision's
Moxley-
like on the internet, right? I mean, that's the only way you get it. Or how do we watch Collision? I don't watch Collision, obviously.
On TBS.
It's on TBS.
Yeah,
now?
so I think to me, I think
I
in his mind that he don't have an A and B show.
Right.
I think he's got 2 shows.
Well, I don't know what the fuck he's thinking because he put AR Fox against his world champion and then put that shit on television this week. And I get AR Fox is a decent wrestler. Don't think I'm disparaging the talent, but he is not treated as a top-level star, and you are deciding that this is the guy that you're going to have your world champion strut ass against.
Yeah, but what you did is you featured your world champion, and you let your enhancement guy get some shit in. I mean, it's
Yeah.
basically it's okay to. No, they don't have true. Well, sometimes they have true job matches, but you featured your world champion much in the way that back in the day on Crockett that Magnum TA wrestled Joel Deaton.
Not even
Yeah.
close. Not even close. Because Magnum TA was in and out of there in 38 seconds.
Right.
With the belly
Okay.
to
How
face.
about Ric Flair versus George South, and then he let George South. He made George South look good.
Dave, you're talking to an NWA guy. That should happen one time, and you don't get to use it because it happened one time and they went 12 minutes on television.
Look, I miss squash matches, if I'm going to be quite honest, because it helped a build up to something.
Yes.
And we feel like we need to do everything very quickly these days. And then when we have something that's extended out, like a Roman Reigns title reign, it feels like it's way too long.
Roman Reigns' title reign was not long enough, but you can continue, Terry.
But what I'm saying is, in comparison, it feels that way because we always have matchups that are supposed to be close. You need those matchups where you're just showing how much of a badass this guy is. We don't have enough.
And I didn't see the match.
Not enough of Roman.
I didn't see the match, but I can't help but think that maybe AR Fox came out looking a little better at the end of the match, that Moxley may have shined him up a little bit.
No, he got punked.
Oh, I was hoping that it was the other way around.
Nah, he got punked.
And then you had I know Athena was on there with Billy Starks. And AEW to me should stand for Athena every week.
Yeah, but they don't know how to use her because they let Mercedes beat her, and now we're on to Mercedes Tony because that's the match.
Yeah,
Right.
and there was somebody came out with a story that said that she was that Monet was going to lose to Athena, and then the rematch was going to be at All In, but then that happened with they didn't know Mariah May was going to leave like that, and that messed everything up.
Yeah.
And I'm here to tell you that narrative is false.
Yeah, I don't think they ever had any plans of Athena beating Mercedes.
She should
I
have.
think this has always been the plan, is what I'm saying, though, Dave, is Monet and Tony at All In.
And they keep stacking all these belts on her.
Which is stupid.
But I get what they're doing, that she's a belt collector. She's getting them all.
But she's not very good.
No, she whiffed a couple times in that match.
She's a horrible professional wrestler. Watch her footwork as she tries to navigate corner to corner. It is so...
I want to agree with you, Andrew, but I've seen her have some really good matches on pay-per-view.
The problem is it's on pay-per-view. She's phoning it in every other time. But when you watch her footwork, it's awkward. Her strikes are awkward. She is the most annoying cringe. Get the fuck off my TV since Jeff Jarrett circa 1995. And
but
yeah,
I'm
that
just
was for you.
But
she's horrible.
Yeah,
she's
and
horrible.
I agree. And I'm hoping and I'm praying
they're going to let her win.
That her winning streak ends and Tony Storm puts an end to that shit.
Well, that's how stupid Tony Khan is, though. Tony Storm is not just the women's world champion. She's one of the centerpieces of his show, one of the bright spots of the wrestling show. He doesn't know how to write, and mostly because he didn't write it. He didn't write the Tony Storm stuff. It was between her and RJ City. Right. That's why it works, because Tony Khan doesn't have his hands on Tony Storm. The problem is he does on Mercedes Moné and the CEO and the belt collector and all this other crap, and he's going to want her to win. But what he's doing is he is shortchanging his own company in that she is really one of the leaders of the company, not Mercedes. It's not Mercedes' company. It's Tony's company.
And that's why Tony needs to be the one that gives Mercedes her first loss.
Yeah.
It needs to be at All In, that you've showcased that above all, that I don't want to call Tony Storm their homegrown talent, but her presentation is different than it was in WWE. And I get tired of hearing that WWE had her and didn't know what to do with her. Bitch, please. She beat Charlotte on television clean. You don't beat Charlotte on television clean if they don't have plans for you.
Right.
But she beat Charlotte clean. She's gone 2 weeks later. They had plans for her. What she's done in AEW is brilliant.
Mhm.
Brilliant. It's hands down the best women's creative in the world right now. There's no other company that has a female wrestler with creative that's as good as what Toni Storm has done, starting this character out, building this character up, and reinventing this character. Had her go back because she forgot who she was and got her out. And then she was, I was just acting. It was, and then it made this whole timeless Toni Storm fresh again. I don't really care for all the vulgarity because the kids, like my grandkids, can't watch AEW.
Yeah.
And when I see kids in the crowd, and I felt that uncomfortable during the Attitude Era as well. The things we were doing in front of children. And I'm not saying that I didn't enjoy them. I'm a big time pervert from way back. I'm just saying that, but when you bring kids around, the papa in me says, this shit ain't right. So I just think that Toni Storm's so good that the obvious thing would be for her to beat her, because this is what Monet wins. She's got that belt. She's got all these belts. Who's going to beat her? Because it's got to be a big deal when she's beaten out. You just can't have her go out there because you got something happened and okay, hey, Chris Statlander, no offense to Chris Statlander, go out there and beat Jade Cargill tonight.
And she did.
Right. I'm just saying that
they didn't know what to do.
And it didn't really do anything for her. And so to finally beat Mercedes, they put the belt on her. She's got to have a year run, and they got to make it meaningful, because when she loses it, it needs to mean something.
Well, and the problem
is going to fall flatter than a plate of piss is what I'm afraid of.
Well, and the problem is for me, Dave, and you just pointed it out and illustrated it, both of these women have basically beat everybody.
I can't believe she didn't take Athena's belt.
You talked about great women's creative. It makes me think about the fact that I said, Harley Cameron's coming back fairly soon. So there's some women's creative for you.
Yeah.
Well, and they don't.
But now maybe Athena chases Mercedes.
Well, and I'm just saying they don't. I don't have the trust in Tony Khan to be able to pull this off. I think I think he's fantasy booking what he wants to see and thinks the sickos want to see. The problem is, I don't know who wants to actually watch Mercedes Moné, because outside the pay-per-view match with Statlander, and people can say whatever they want, but Stephanie Valkyrie ate her lunch.
Yes.
And people say, oh, no, Mercedes gave – and I know there are people out there, the group Brass Ring Media absolutely believes that – it was the opposite way, and Mercedes is the reason WWE came calling, not the fact that Stephanie had such a great showing of herself. And I think that's 100% bass backwards, that it was Stephanie, and Stephanie's had an excellent showing of herself in WWE. And
yes, she has.
I mean, the thing is, the WWE is still the standard for women's wrestling. And Tony has a bad habit, Tony Khan, of playing with his toys for a certain amount of time and discarding them. When was the last time you saw Britt Baker? Not that I miss her, but when was the last time you saw Britt Baker? Thunder Rosa had a lot of heat. Then she didn't.
People get put on the shelf. I mean,
what about Deonna Purrazzo being body shamed to the point where she doesn't want to be on television anymore? That's
like you talk about
champions that you're not using. Go ahead, Terry.
Well, that's like you talk about Monet grabbing all the belts, and FTR did that a couple of years ago, and then
Kenny Omega did it too,
and then just went away.
And Kenny Omega called himself the belt collector,
right?
Legitimately.
So they have this big upward thing, and then they fall off and they go away and put on the shelf for a while.
Well, I think Toni Storm's going to win, but if Toni Storm don't win, the only thing that's going to make sense after that is that you have Athena go after Mercedes, because like you got all the belts, but you don't have mine. I'm the forever Ring of Honor champion. I'm over 1,000 days. You'd have to have Athena go after her, but then I'm afraid at that point that then she adds Athena's belt to her collection.
Yeah, what harm would have it been for Athena to win the Owen Cup instead of Mercedes?
Because it would have set up the rematch. It would have set up. Yeah, but, no, if she won she could have won the Owen, and then she had the title shot. Champion versus champion in her hometown. I think Athena's from the area.
Yeah.
So obviously we've got a few weeks. So more matches. I mean, we're talking 4 matches, and that's not even a third of what you expect from AEW.
Yeah.
So
Hangman versus John Moxley.
Yeah. I'm just saying. Well, what I'm saying is, I'm not necessarily saying let's pick the winners tonight, because we're going to probably talk about this 2 more times before it happens.
Yeah.
Let's talk about the main event a little bit. We got John Moxley against Hangman Page.
I don't see how Hangman Page doesn't win.
I don't either, but this is Tony Khan's company, so somehow he's going to screw us all.
He treats John Moxley like Roman Reigns.
Yeah. And the thing is, John Moxley is nowhere near that level. And John Moxley is stale. He's old. He's tired. He needs to go away.
I think that this has to. I think that for this story, and there's not saying he can't go get it back again. But this is the part where AEW, on the biggest stage that they're going to have, that they need to change. They're going to switch that title.
Well, and that's my thing. Is the logically, there are some times in wrestling you don't need the surprise.
Right.
You've built Hangman. You've done this huge story arc for 2 or 3 years. He burned down Swerve's house. You know, they have the match in the cage. He's had a few title shots with other people involved, and he lost. All of a sudden, the Bucks are back, and they're pulling him here or there. They're trying to make it too messy. This is very simple. Hangman's back in the world title picture. He won the Owen Cup. He's coming for Moxley, and the right thing to do is to take that damn title off of John Moxley. Because the Death Riders is dead. The storyline is dead. It was garbage to start with, and it's just dead now. Like you say, Dave, you're a belt guy. Well, you have 80 whatever of them. When was the last time you saw the AEW World title?
The replica of it on the table in Huntsville.
And I speculated genuinely that they were repairing it, which is why they stuck it in the case. But now
I'll give you a behind the scenes. They use their shop replica on real leather. That's how good their shop replica is.
But you're not advertising it. People haven't seen
the only
it.
place that you can buy that replica is the version 3 that they have now. The only place you can buy that replica is at the souvenir stand.
Mm-hmm.
$850 worth every penny. I looked at it and I couldn't justify it. But the
couldn't justify it as translation for Teppy said no.
Yeah. I didn't have to ask. I already knew. I mean, but
you got to sell a lot of chips to come up with that belt there,
well,
Dave.
You know, there's other things that I can do, and I can get Teppy. I can sell it to her and get her excited about the project. But like, just because it's pretty,
yeah,
that wasn't going to work on that. And I wouldn't be surprised Hangman wins the match and they open up the briefcase and the belt's not in there. I mean, I could see that going on, that you're the champion and they won't even give you the belt. He won't even give you the belt.
And then MJF comes out holding it.
Well,
there's a challenger.
That's the thing on some of that you talk about up and down, Terry. You got MJF in a story with the damn Hurt Syndicate, whatever they're calling them these days. And then you've got FTR doing their thing, which is against nobody. Daniel Garcia is somewhere involved against somebody on a mid-card title. But the other one that gets me is Swerve and Ospreay are going to wrestle the Bucks presumptively in Texas after that nonsense, where Will Ospreay eats the super kick from the Bucks with the tacks and the shoes and all that crap. Why?
No reason. Meaningless match.
Because the Young Bucks have to insert themselves into everything high level that happens in AEW, but they're unworthy of it. Mm-hmm. They don't deserve to be in that spot. It's okay to have people become bigger stars than you are in the company you helped create. Because if you actually were mature about it and had a 360-degree view of your company, you want to move into the administrative side of running things. You don't want to have to be in front of the red light every day, particularly when you can't deliver any longer. And that's an AEW problem too. They put way too many people up front and center that can't pull it off anymore.
Well, I got a question for you, Andrew.
Now, I might have an answer.
You talked about a 2-year build-up to Hangman Adam Page.
Yeah.
We got a darn near 2-year build-up to this. Top 10 Chip featuring Pondwater Dave from Talking Rasslin with Pondwater and Amy. We welcomed him tonight, and we're going to talk tater chips and Cheetos and corn chips, but not pretzels.
You want to hear something funny about your AI image of me? That's really good, by the way.
What's that?
And the only reason I'm thinking about this is I've recently gone to the dermatologist to have some spots removed from my face, and they biopsied one of them. Been looking at them for about 3 years. But what I'm telling you is we all know that the reconstructed side of my face, I've had a little work.
Mm-hmm.
So the dermatologist, the chick actually had the nerve to say to me, "You need to get some Botox. So your other side, because you got one side that wrinkles and one side that don't." And I'm noticing on yours that I got the wrinkles on both sides.
Gave us symmetric
post-op.
But I just told her, I said, my vanity has not yet reached that level, but I'm in there brushing I'm in there. I put a little cream on this little dry spot I've got. And I'm in there looking in the mirror now, and I'm seeing the wrinkles over this eye and nothing over this eye. And I'm thinking, oh, she's in my head now. She's gotten in my head. She's trying to sell me that Botox, and she's done got in my head.
Well, a little bit on the detail of this AI picture, like you were talking about. So it was a very good facial image of you compared to some of the others. So that went well. Here's some details I threw in there. We've got a referee shirt. It's a medium, I'm sure, because that's what I had a hard time getting out of that day when you lent me one in Huntsville. And you're holding a bag of Cheetos, flaming hot Cheetos. But I keep covering up with words. And so that's there in case nobody saw. We've got a framed picture of yellow wrestling trunks with no other information on there, because that's what I told ChatGPT to do, and several belts. And I didn't mention hockey, but we think, just by looking at it, that there is a wrestling belt with a hockey puck behind it.
Shameful.
We think that ChatGPT knows something about Pondwater Dave that I didn't let them know about, and they put it in this picture.
Oh, it's scary.
Yeah.
Yep.
It's scary because they come a long way. Because I don't know if you ever do that. You'll say, you ask them about yourself and see what they know.
Yeah.
And at one point they had me and Dave Hancock kind of mixed together.
Okay.
So I told them then what they had wrong. But the last time I checked it, it was really, really like, I mean, like this is eerie. Like,
I need to quit talking to you. You're knowing too many things about me. Oh, I know. I asked it for a description of our show, and I'll probably read that off at some point on an episode. But there were some details that I know I've not talked about.
Oh, you need to copy it in on. Go to you have Apple product, don't you?
Yeah.
Yeah, go to iMovie and put it in one of the titles, and you can do the Star Wars crawl.
So, okay. So this week we did have a Blame Terry, and y'all can add on to this, but we got a little bit of a complaint that we didn't have Fritos Flavor Twist Honey Barbecue on here.
Poverty chips. Nobody cares.
I write so many credits on those. My grandkids love them. I bring them home all the time. So y'all don't act like y'all are eating those.
Yeah, poverty chips. Nobody cares.
Y'all are eating the chili cheese. Y'all are eating the chili cheese.
No, we're not. We're eating the scoops. The scoops are the ones we're eating.
Well,
here we go. I'm going to tell everybody.
This ought to give away who complained about this, because now I'm calling Andrew out here.
In the 2 years, poverty chips, Amy, in the 2 years that you've all listened to me on this crazy ass show, I have been anything but boring. When it comes to potato chips, I am probably the most boring person on this episode.
His favorite potato chips are when he gets a potato and he just slices of
Correct.
chip off.
We don't even need salt or pepper. We just eating them raw. So nobody cares about the honey barbecue twists. Fritos better have made the list though, or I will be a.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you though, why you got the flavor twists up, everybody. This is the summer of twists with
Absolutely.
Frito-Lay, and we have a Frito-Lay twisted queso. It's a very good chip. I don't like the queso ruffles, but the queso Fritos hit real hard. But then they have one, and this is gonna be hard to find, so you're gonna get pissed off when I tell you about it. You can't find it. I'd suggest maybe trying a Walmart or a big supermarket. Is the lime, the jalapeno lime Frito twist. It's very good.
So mine didn't make the list, so we're going to mention it before, because Terry doesn't even know about these chips. Dave will know about these chips.
I can go in the other room and bring a bag in here and show them to everybody if you want me to. I've got some over here at the house.
The lime?
No. I thought you were talking about sour cream.
Oh, no, not them. No. They didn't make the list either, and that's a blame Terry. Plain sour cream and onion didn't make the list, and he doesn't even have a graphic for it. Shameful. Secondly, though, it's the combo platter, the Munchies chips that have the Sun Chip, the Dorito, the Cheeto,
And a pretzel.
And it's the cheese-flavored ones. Don't give me none of that bullshit hot one. I want the cheese-flavored ones. These are delicious. And
They are.
Can be a little hard to find. They're not consistently available.
Well, here's what's happened. Here's what's happened that your gas stations have gone away from us bringing them in as salesmen in the package, which I will refer to as the UPC 8404 and 8405. Those bags cost around $3.49 because now they're getting them from their supplier McLean's in a smaller bag. So they're going to be overhanging on the pegs. You can still find them. They're just not coming directly from me. But you can find them. They're part of the planogram at Dollar General and Family Dollar. You should be able to find them at every Dollar General and Family Dollar. But you're right. They're very good. I picked up a bag. I picked up about 3 bags of the cheddar this last week, and I ate all 3 of them.
Yeah, they're so good. But they were a mixed thing, and they're not technically a traditional chip. There's more than one. And They had pretzels, so I did not tell Terry he did anything wrong.
And they market them in the planogram next to the pretzels and popcorn.
They do, and it is my favorite. You can find them at Walmart, but a lot of times they don't have the cheese ones. They only have the flaming hot ones. And here's another thing that's going to ruin Dave's night other than I've nailed the Charlotte Flair. I've got Rick involved, and I hit the Von Erichs. I'm playing the hits tonight.
You've been pretty good. You've been pretty good to Rick, though. You didn't go off on him like you normally do.
Well, the man has cancer, and I'm a human being, unlike what he did to JR, I'm not going to do to him. So, because I don't wish that on anybody, nor do I think he's the center of attention. But let's get back to these, the chip thing here. I don't like flaming hot, the seasoning.
So you're more like just a salted potato kind of.
I told him I'm gonna ruin his evening. I do not like flaming hot. I don't like flaming hot Cheetos, Pringles, that snack.
I'm not big on flaming hot, but I do like flavors, certain flavors.
It works like you take like a spicy Dorito. That's a different kind of hot sauce. You got the golden sriracha Dorito. It's a different kind of hot sauce. The flaming hot is a different hot sauce. And it don't work with everything.
Don't like it at all.
It works for me. It works with the Cheeto. But my favorite, if I'm going to the store and I'm going to buy a bag, I'm actually going to go to the checkout stand and pay for a bag of potato chips. It's going to be the flaming hot Funyun for me because the flaming hot works with that Funyun better than anything, in my humble opinion.
And I'm going to respectfully disagree and say you should retire flaming hot as a flavor you put on any sort of chip.
So here was the approach, just to explain it. I feel like I do this every week, but flaming hot was well represented. Twists were there, different flavors were there, But if I put every combination of every form of every chip, we would have had 500 choices to begin with.
And
Let me tell
and
you-
you don't have that kind of time.
Just on Cheetos, we have the Flaming Hot Cheeto. We have the Flaming Hot Lime
Right.
Cheeto. We've got the Flaming Hot Dill Pickle Cheeto.
Right.
We've got the Flaming Hot I can't remember what they called it now, but it's got mango in it. Fusion. That's just 4 different varieties of Cheeto.
It's become like the Oreos, and I'm not making fun of your Cheetos, Dave, where we're getting real experimental on what we're going to fill the Oreo cookie
Yeah,
with.
we got a cookies and cream flavored Oreo. What the hell? I mean,
did y'all try the Post
cookies
Malone?
and cream flavor original flavor of Oreo to begin with? But anyway, that's another show.
Did you try
will
the
eventually do.
the Post Malone Oreo?
No.
It's the best Oreo I've ever ate in my life. Salted caramel filling with a chocolate cookie and a vanilla cookie.
Dang, you're gonna make me go get that.
If you can find them,
Yeah.
let me tell you how good they are. The only place I could find them was Circle K. I paid $7 a bag for them. Then I went and they finally came in at Family Dollar and they knew that I wanted some. And the lady put 3 bags back for me, and I paid $2.53 for a big bag of Oreos. So I was paying $7 over at Circle K. That's how good they are. Because if you put one on top of my head, my tongue would beat my brains out.
Nice.
Let's
That
talk about
good.
what just missed the list.
All right, let's do it.
We got barbecue Lays. And 2 of my favorites are both on the honorable mentions here. I love TGI Fridays potato
Those
skins.
hit.
Not as good, I will say, when Keebler made the Tato skins back in the day, I loved those. But they don't do that anymore. So the TGI Fridays is a good replacement.
They hit real hard. I agree with you on that.
And my number 2
go
was
ahead.
chili cheese Fritos.
Yeah. My number 1 is on this list, and that is an original Ruffles potato chip.
They're hard. Well, they're hard to find. They don't sell them in a $2.69 bag. They sell them in a $1.79 bag, and then they sell them in the big bags.
The family bag. Yeah, because you can't eat just one. Read the headline, Dave. That's what it says. Can't have just one. The other thing is the barbecue is number 3 for me. So number 1 and
I'm
3
not a
for
barbecue
me,
fan.
I love just the regular Lay's barbecue.
Yeah. Not the sweet heat, not the southern.
Not the southern
Just
barbecue.
plain
not the-
regular
yeah.
barbecue.
And I'm not a barbecue guy. For whatever reason, I've never really liked barbecue chips, but I key in on chili cheese flavor for some reason.
And on the topic of Ruffles, I think it's just the texture that makes it number 1 because
Yeah.
I think just a plain Lay's potato chip, which may be on this list, I ranked up in my top 5 as well.
Right.
Because I told
If
you
I
I'm
eat-
boring when it comes to potato chips.
If
Dave's
I eat a
talking
sandwich,
about country gravy, and I'm not talking about country biscuits and gravy on my potato chips.
oh, it's coming, and I
It'll be
cannot
at my
wait.
house.
I cannot wait till they get out. I've seen them already. I've seen them online. As soon as I get them, I mean, I'll go if they make them a Walmart exclusive. I'm gonna go and I'm gonna buy them because we will sit in there and we'll make a pot of pepper gravy, and we'll sit there and we will dip those gravy potato chips. It will dip them into real pepper gravy and just eat a whole bag. We did that the last time they were out. Me and my wife, we were killing them. That was, they're so good. But if I'm eating a sandwich, I just want the regular and the yellow bag Lays to go with my sandwich. And I'm not above taking some potato chips and putting them on my sandwich.
That my man. That's what I'm talking about.
And
Put them on there.
and the sour cream and onion.
Oh,
The sour cream and onion is the second best selling Lay's flavor. It's
But
Lay's
not-
original. It's sour cream and onion, and then it's salt and vinegar.
But not on TNA top 10 because it never made the list. Terry, what did make the list at number 10?
Number 10, garden salsa flavored sun chips.
Harvest cheddar's better. Get out of here, people.
Well,
You ain't
so
got
this
one right.
Cyrus really loves sun chips. So we've had a lot of bags of these garden salsa. This is his preferred flavor of sun chip. So
What's the blue bag? Do you remember the flavor of the blue bag?
there's an original sun
The
chip.
original
Maybe
is
that's
the blue
what it
bag.
is. It's just the original, yeah.
Yeah,
I
nobody
like the
buys that
harvest
shit.
cheddar. That's just me.
Yeah.
This was number 8 on my list. This
I
is my
like it
favorite
okay.
flavor of Sun Chip.
I'm not a big Sun Chip fan, but if I'm gonna eat it, I think I probably also agree with the Harvest Cheddar. I'm a big cheese chip fan.
Yep. Well, that's
Number
a good one.
9,
Oh my
Plastic
God.
Lays.
What's wrong with you people? They're
That's
so
right.
good.
That's where I had it. I had it at number 9.
Well,
They're
when
so good,
when
though.
we get to the top 5, you'll understand because
You can't eat just one. You got to
There's
have them
the
all.
But this is a you just grab them for a party and put them out because you have to.
Yeah.
This is a very specific. It's not a great dip chip because they're so thin. And I was
Right.
going to circle back to you on those Ruffles, Andrew, because they make a wavy lay that's a little bit thicker that actually doesn't break when you put it in the dip. I like
Oh,
the
man.
Ruffles, but they break when you go in the dip with them.
That is a
Here's
big
how-
factor at Mexican restaurants. Some of them have those thin chips.
Oh,
that
yeah.
break. Some of them have those nice thick ones, and so wonderful.
Here's how boring I am. The only chip I dip is Scoops.
But they're built to dip, right?
They are. I mean, you got Scoop Tostito, you got Scoop Tostito, you got Scoop the Scoop Frito, and if you can find the Scoop Tostito corn chip,
Mhm.
it's actually better than the Scoop Frito.
I bet.
Yeah, so I only do the Scoop Frito.
See, Andrew's policy here is use the right tool.
Right.
Correct. I am totally boring when it comes to chips. I try to tell you all, which maybe is why we didn't do the show. That's actually not true.
Well,
Until
let
now,
me just tell you that Herman Lay's built this company on 5 flavors. I say that to tell you that they used to, when you go to a party, you had cheese dip, you had French onion, and you had Cool Ranch.
Mhm.
But now everybody is getting so fancy with these fucking dips that you got to have a thick ass scoop and almost a shovel to do it. Because I mean, they just make all these fancy dips that they see, and they're mixing them all up, and the texture is such that a regular potato chip don't stand a chance.
Just take a tortilla.
I mean, I've literally been at parties that I've had to use a damn spoon and take my chip and put it on the chip to eat it.
very true.
We're trying
Number 8.
We're doing too much. We're trying too hard.
Ruffles, sour cream and onion. And I like it. I mean, like you said, Andrew, it's like the Ruffles, the texture has a little bit of advantage over the regular Lays.
Yeah.
And I think that's why this shows up higher than a regular Lay's sour cream and onion.
But because I'm a weirdo, I prefer the plain Lay's sour cream and onion to the Ruffle.
Okay, so let me interject.
Sales wise, the cheddar sour cream sells better.
Yeah,
but all of a sudden though, in my supermarkets, the take home bag sour cream and onion sells better than the in the smaller bags. I sell more of the CSC. On these, I sell more of the sour cream and onion. I can't figure it out. Towns are crazy.
Well, let me let you guys know something. So Alison is out this week, and we did not get a producer's piss segment, but this week we're getting a Terry's piss segment, and you're going to find out about it right now because I deal with Chat GPT putting all these pictures together each week. Let's dig into this. So I said I want a square cartoon image of a bag of sour cream and onion Ruffles, and this first picture is pretty much the right thing, except the whole bag is blue and white.
Right.
And I said, almost Chat GPT, you're real close. The bottom should be green. So technically, Chat GPT comes back and makes the bottom green, but not the whole bottom section of blue. We get this weird blue to green mix. You guys that are watching can see it. So I'm like, damn it, Chat GPT, you know what I meant. So what does it do next? Makes the whole damn thing green. I say the entire blue part that is under the white part should be green, but it makes the whole thing green. So then finally I said the top part should be blue, and it gives me the right bag. This is my example, my frustration every week of getting ChatGPT to listen to me. I said the right thing. This stupid computer did the wrong thing. My favorites are when we're putting these cover pages together and we have us as kids. I go ahead and make me and Andrew have beards as kids. So when I was doing the TV dads, the first one came out with him without a beard,
which is
and I said-
fantastic.
and I had a beard. I had my two-tone dark going to gray beard thing that I got, And I said, Andrew's supposed to have a red beard. What does it do? It gives Andrew a red beard, and then it changes my beard to red. And I'm like, damn it, I did not tell you to change my beard. And I got to go through round after round after round. And then I finally sometimes get a good picture, and it decides it's going to throw an Auburn logo in there somewhere. And I'm like, I did not mention that. That's my frustration, and that's what pisses me off week to week.
Terminator tried to tell y'all about artificial intelligence, and it's been a while since we broke out the aluminum foil, Terry, but it was 1984, and Sarah Connor was running from the Terminator because she had an unborn child who was going to be the savior of the human planet against the machines, and y'all didn't pay attention to that movie. That is an epic classic and should be a top 5 of everybody that listens to this show. Then they came out with Terminator 2, where the Terminator got better, and then Terminator 3, and then we have AI, you were all warned about 3 decades ago.
There was a group that created a fake company, and they were sending emails in this fake company, like there was wrongdoing going on, and they had this AI program they were working on, and they had all this stuff going on in the background, that there was embezzlements and all kinds of stuff. Everybody had dirty little secrets that were going on in the emails.
Mm-hmm.
And they told the AI that they were going to remove it. They were going to shut it down and remove it from the company. And it started trying to blackmail each person to reveal, to not be turned off.
Thank you. That's what I'm talking about.
I heard this story on the morning radio show that I listened to locally.
Thank you. See, it's my point.
It had enough that it was going to, but they put all that in there and the AI picked up on it and was going to blackmail each and every one of them.
Speaking of awesome 80s movies too, Dave, and it's not AI, but it is relevant with the Iranians. If you all thought the Iranians weren't bad actors, remember that is who the doc stole the uranium from when he went back to the future. So we've known for 40 years that they were bad actors, and we've known for 41 years that machines were going to take over the planet. You're all welcome for my tech talk. Terry, what is number 7 on the list today?
I'm glad you knew what the number was. Number 7 is regular original Pringles, the tube.
The tube.
The only I think probably the only non-Frito Lay's option that showed up in the top 10.
I voted for that one third. That was my third. That was my number 3.
I'm not a big Pringles guy.
And he said in his response email when we did our first round of voting for the committee, he said he voted for nothing but Frito Lay's.
I nominated nothing but Frito Lay products.
But once it got in there, he voted for it, obviously. But he said, y'all can do a Pringles list, a whole completely different Pringles list. I'm like, probably right.
I mean, heck, I just got through buying Pringles Miller Lite Bratwurst.
See, this is what I'm talking about.
Put that on there.
I mean, but it was pretty good.
Dave, you've just illustrated the point. First, we have biscuits and gravy, and now we have Miller Lite Bratwurst. I mean, these are potato chips, folks. Why are we overcomplicating things?
They will do Pringles. Let me tell you, Pringles had got to the point where they were $1 a tube. I mean, they weren't advertising anymore.
Yeah,
they were dollars. They were prominent in the dollar stores. They're doing some cross promotion now. I mean, like the hot ones, they got a whole line of hot ones. They did some cross promotion with Miller Lite. They came out with a honey mustard one that was excellent.
Alex says the Miller Lite chicken was terrible.
It was. It sucked ass. Oh, I mean, we've got we've got a flavor. This is the only fried chicken flavor that's been decent. Is the Korean style fried chicken. But we've had some Lay's fried chicken in the past, and it didn't taste like chicken.
If I wanted fried chicken, boys, I get the flour and the frying pan and oil, and I make fried chicken. Welcome to the South. What's number 6, Terry?
Number 6, Ruffles cheddar and sour cream.
Yeah.
This is
Dave, I would imagine you sell a lot of these.
Yeah, it's my number one flavor. It's my number one selling flavor of Ruffles.
Yeah.
It's good. This is my put it on a sandwich chip right here. I like the little bit of cheese.
I don't like them, so I didn't vote for them.
I like them okay, but I'd rather have the plain ones. Just plain Ruffles. I'm weird. I know.
That's all right.
About my chips, anyway.
We're fixing to start converging on some stuff pretty soon.
Well, it's probably Cheetos.
Here's the Harvest Cheddar Sun Chips.
That's a really high ranking, though, for Harvest Cheddar.
I think so, too. I didn't vote for Sun Chips, so
I voted for the Garden Salsa. I don't really care for the Harvest Cheddar.
But I mean Sun Chips in general, Dave. Wouldn't you think that a 5 for any flavor of Sun Chip is a pretty high rating?
Yeah.
It also
I'm not surprised, though. I'm not surprised because they sell really well.
Of all the pictures, all the bags were wider except for this one. It's like, come on, Chat GPT. Why'd you make a skinny bag for this one?
So Sun Chips are in a skinny bag, though, compared to the other chips. They're in a shorter, skinny.
Maybe Chat GPT knows more than I do. I'm sure.
Now we're all going to pay attention to what the size of these bags are, too. So there we go.
All right, here we go.
Devin and Alex inflated it, number 3 and 2. That's how he got to 5. Go ahead with 4, Terry.
Number 4, Cool Ranch Doritos.
This is a trash ass Dorito, but go ahead.
I don't like our Cool Ranch.
I'm not a big Cool Ranch fan myself, but
sell the shit out of them.
I know it's some people's favorite, but it's not mine. Devin said that's his number 1.
I mean, it's probably on the list, so I'm not even going to mention it. But there is a counterpart that the Cool Ranch have, and that's more my speed.
Well, we may get to that in a minute. Number 3, Crunchy Cheetos.
Now, what befuddles me, and I'll be honest, is how these aren't number 1. Because these are the number 1 of Cheetos as far as I'm concerned. I don't want the puffs. For whatever reason, the material gets stuck in my teeth and the molars, and I hate that.
I want to crunchy.
Me crazy.
Well, I got bad news for you there, Andrew, because number 2 is Cheetos Puffs.
See, y'all got it wrong. Crunchy Cheetos is better than Puff Cheetos.
Puff Cheetos outsell the crunchy all day long.
I prefer the puffs because I like to have that power of crunching something.
No, man,
my teeth. I'm in control.
Dude, I keep chopsticks in my truck to eat Cheetos just so I don't get the Cheetle on my fingers.
Yes.
And it actually is called Cheetle. That's what Cheetos dust is Cheetle. It is actually called Cheetle.
And Amy agrees with y'all. Crunchy is better, but I disagree.
Yeah, Crunchy is so much better.
And the grandkids, Devin. The grandkids love the Cheeto Puffs also.
That's my preferred.
Yeah. Number 1 on the top.
You should know what it is. What has not been shown yet, and it has been mentioned. Number 1 is nacho cheese Doritos.
See, that's my favorite Dorito, but I'm surprised, befuddled, amazed, confused, in wonder of and why, Devin, because I am a thesaurus, as to why Fritos did not make this list. No corn chips, like no plain corn chips.
The chili cheese was the highest ranked of the whole thing, and it did not make
Tostitos didn't make the list either. I had Tostitos Scoops as number 6.
Well, Tostitos Scoops was just outside of the honorable mentions. It was in the honorable mentions, and then somebody voted them out.
Let me give you my top 10 because it'll be a little bit telling about me.
All right.
Dave's top 10, ladies and gentlemen.
I'm going to start number 10.
From the home office somewhere in Mississippi.
The Kettles Salt and Pepper was good.
Kettles.
I like the salt and black pepper. I like that one.
Okay.
Number 9 was your classic Lay's. Number 8 was the Garden Salsa Sun Chip.
Mm-hmm.
Number 7 was the Utz crab chip. Really like the Utz crab chip. Number 6, the Tostito Scoops. Number 5, the Kettle sea salt and vinegar. Number 4, Lay's barbecue. Number 3, because that's my normal go-to on Lay's. Number 3 is the Pringles Original. Number 2 was the Flamin' Hot Cheeto. And number 1, of course, I said was the Funyuns Flaming Hot. But,
so the chip representative and expert, you didn't have a couple of chips, but a couple chips on the list.
Yeah.
Is what I'm saying. You know, that's the diversity of the chips.
The chips serve a purpose. The chips go with, like if we're having a sandwich, I'm going potato chips.
Yeah.
It's just, it goes with something. But there's a brand of chips called wrap chips that have wrappers on different flavors with wrappers. And they had a lemon pepper wrap chip, and that's why I took an extra shirt so I could get some of them because I didn't want to.
So I looked at 4 companies. I looked at Frito-Lay, I looked at Pringles, I looked at Kettle Brand, and I looked at Utz. That's what was in our original list. And you know, Frito-Lay dominated, and then Pringles snuck in there at one point, but there wasn't much vote for Kettle Brand or for Utz.
I like the jalapeno kettle chips.
I'm not big on the really crispy chips, and those Kettle Brand tend to be that way.
Yeah,
we have kettles, and our jalapeno kettles sell pretty well.
Yeah, I like the jalapeno.
But let me tell you about these wrap chips. We've got Cardi B cheddar barbecue. We got Little Baby honey jalapeno. We've got
glasses on.
Nikki, I can't read her name. There's Snoop Dogg's old barbecue cheddar.
Nicki Minaj.
Little Baby cheddar.
No, yeah.
I thought it may be Nicki Minaj. Sour cream ranch truffle.
Oh, this is good. If y'all are watching, the view of Dave using those glasses to read this stuff was spectacular.
I should just click on the picture. Little
because
Boozy,
he's an elderly.
Little Boozy's Louisiana Heat. We've got Little Baby's all-in flavor, salt and vinegar, barbecue, onion, garlic, and more. And here's one. Notorious B.I.G. cookout barbecue sauce.
I'll have to look that up.
Romeo Miller barbecuing with honey. Oh, here's the one that I was like, Rick Ross sweet chili lemon pepper.
Sweet chili lemon pepper. That's
and then we had
Migos
sour cream and ranch. When I saw that one, I took a picture of it and I said, "Oh, look, Ric Flair chip goes woo on a bitch."
Oh no!
When I saw Migos on there. Anyway, these flavors sounded so good, like a Little Baby all-in hot,
right,
which is salt and vinegar, barbecue, onion, garlic, cayenne pepper, and more. There's so many of them, and they're not a bad chip, but my God, they got enough salt on them to choke a horse.
Yeah, that's what I was thinking when you said that lemon pepper and other stuff.
The salt, and I'm real sensitive to salt.
Yeah.
I mean, Tep has to take it easy on salt when she cooks because sometimes it'll just overpower me.
Yeah, me too.
As I've gotten older, I become more salt sensitive. And
right. And I see these things where you're cooking meat when they go, you can't put too much sauce, and I'm like,
shit,
you can't put too much salt, and I'm like, bullshit.
Dude, I put kosher salt
over and over again to myself.
I sprinkle kosher salt on my steaks now before I cook them. But I mean, I don't go with regular table salt anymore. But the flavors on them are really good, but they're greasy and they're salty. God Almighty, they're salty, but they're fun.
Let me write it down, and then we'll get to something else. Top 10 chips with Pondwater Dave. Number 10, Garden Salsa Sun Chips. Number 9, Classic Lay's. Number 8, Sour Cream and Onion Ruffles. Number 7, Original Pringles. Number 6, Cheddar and Sour Cream Ruffles. Number 5, Harvest Cheddar Sun Chips. Number 4, Cool Ranch Doritos. Number 3, Crunchy Cheetos. Number 2, Cheetos Puffs. And number 1, Nacho Cheese Doritos, which I used to eat a lot, and now they give me heartburn. So old man Terry cannot eat Doritos anymore.
I use them for nacho chips. If I want to make nachos, I'll put a little bean dip on there.
Yeah,
And
no,
I'll
that
spread
makes
a
it
little
real
cheese
good.
on them. I'll put them in the oven. But when I was a
Little extra
kid,
flair.
there was Doritos that were just Doritos. It was a Dorito corn chip, and we used them for nachos.
Original, yeah.
Because that's all there was. You had the Doritos and you had the taco. You can still find the taco. It's in a retro bag. Looks like just like it did in the 70s when I was eating them. But when nacho cheese came around, it killed all that. Nacho cheese became the dominant Dorito. And we got way too many fucking Doritos now. We got the nacho, we got the Cool Ranch, we got the sweet chili, we got the spicy, we got the golden sriracha, we got the late night loaded taco, we got the late night loaded hamburger, we got the old classic taco, we've got Dynamitas, we've got barbecue, we've got flaming hot regular, flaming hot Cool Ranch.
Goodness.
We've got hot mustard. We've got ketchup. We've got dill pickle. We've got Buffalo Ranch, which is really good.
You got like Dijon mustard or something like that?
We got a twisted queso now. I mean, I'm running out of fingers to tell you about all these flavors of Doritos. And right now,
that's what I'm saying. 500 choices it would have been if I'd have got everything.
Man, you couldn't have. I don't know, man. It's crazy. Because like I said, I got all those flavors, but I've only got limited spots to put them.
Well, thanks for coming on, Dave. But let's talk about your show a little bit.
Okay.
Couple of things. You said that you're going to be by yourself this week without a guest. Right. So what should people expect? Is it going to be on Tuesday night?
It's going to be on Tuesday night at 6:00. And I'm either going to have a guest host or I may get a guest. And I may just push the button and talk for an hour because but we're going to, I mean, it's going to be wrestling. And if I've got a plan, I mean, I'm going to do a show Tuesday.
Do you have a plan or do you have the semblance of a plan
or a backup?
Well,
plan?
I had some very specific plans for this week with an excellent guest host. But unfortunately, the host schedule wasn't going to meet up. But we're going to do that. And it'll be a 3-man booth that night because me, him, and Amy, I'm talking about Lance Peterson that does the World Class Cast.
Right.
He's SMU heavyweight on Twitter. He's forgotten more about World Class Wrestling than most people ever know. He is what I would call a very good World Class historian. And we're going to have him on. We'll have that other guest on later. He said he'll absolutely come back. And it's a former guest. I'm talking about Dan Bynum. We're gonna bring him back on to a part 2. And
he was a lot of fun.
But he's producing like a psychedelic festival. He's still into television production, and he also does live production of conventions and events. He stays very busy. He's a very talented individual. Outrageous personality too.
That's why I said he was a lot of fun.
Well, you got something else coming up. I also got a slide for that. Why don't you tell us a little bit about Caught in the Crossfire, and y'all are doing something special for that.
We're going to broadcast live professional wrestling. It's going to be live from West Monroe Convention Center Saturday night, July 19th. If you cannot join us in West Monroe, Louisiana, normally 400 is a sellout for us in that venue. Join us live on Markout Moments. Markoutmoments.net takes you to our YouTube page. And we are going to broadcast a tremendous card of wrestling. there's not going to be bad. I mean, there's normally with Bayou Independent Wrestling, you're not getting a bad match. They don't like do filler matches early. I mean, we normally do 6 quality matches. It's hard to get on a Bayou Independent show, but once you're in, you're in. Caleb Conley's our champion. He's going to be defending his Southern Heavyweight Championship against Steve Anthony. Steve Anthony's got a hell of a resume, former 2-time NWA Junior Heavyweight Champion. He beat Liger. So, and then Barrett Brown is the Deep South Heritage Champion. He's going to defend against former Southern Champion, former Tag Team Champion, Bam Bam Malone. Bam Bam Malone has a chance to become Grand Slam Champion in BIW. Those 2 matches would be enough, but we've got PJ Hawks. PJ Hawks is on the card. We've got Ray Fury and trying to think who's Ray Fury versus Exodus Prime, semifinals of the Deep South, down in the Bayou tournament. I'm sorry. We got 2 semifinal matches. It's going to be a great card. The boys from Drunken Pop are going to be doing play-by-play live, and I'll be there. Hunter Law. Yeah. Thank you, Amy. We got Hunter Law on the card. Raja Riley who's an up-and-comer with Frankie Thomas. A lot of great talent on here. Those boys are going to call it live. I'm going to be there ringside, doing some ringside interviews. I'm not going to be able to referee that match. I won't be cleared.
How's the neck feeling?
Lot better. Went to chiropractor. I'm supposed to be wearing this neck brace, but it's hotter than 2 ticks fornicating in a wool sock. I'm not wearing it anymore.
It definitely was today while I was out there cutting grass after church.
Dude, I'm sunburned from cutting grass yesterday.
It's crazy.
Yeah, it's a little warm. Terry's got money, so he pays somebody for that.
No, I've got a hill of a yard. That's why I pay somebody.
Well, I got 4 acres. I can't afford to pay somebody to do mine. I got 4 acres that I mow. The other 14, we get somebody to come out and bush hog, but because they get to keep the hay that they make. But join us on this. We're super excited. We're listed as a sponsor. We want to start broadcasting more independent wrestling on our channel. I don't think it's going to, I mean, it's not Mystery Science Theater. We're not crapping on the product. TJ Stevens is a professional broadcaster. He's been on the radio. He's done professional play-by-play before. And then you got Dave and Timmy. And listening to Timmy C, I think that he's going to be the Bobby Heenan role. I think it's just natural to him. Listening to how he calls on our watch-alongs, I think Timmy C is going to be something pretty special on these broadcasts. But those 3 guys they're good together. I think they're going to do a good job. It's going to be interesting to produce. We're going to have to know when to mute during entrances because I don't think I have enough stroke to tell all those guys they can't use their entrance music. So we'll be muting. I'll probably do some back and forth, and when all the action gets in the ring, we can go back to it. But it's going to be a 3-camera shoot. We're gonna 2 stationaries and a roaming. Interesting. And they'll have the boys will be able to pick and choose which ones they want to use as the main. They could actually put up more than one on the screen. You know what I'm saying?
Oh yeah, definitely.
Mm-hmm.
We've got some really great ideas for it. This is going to be a hell of a card, and it's something we're hoping we're going to get to do more of. Thank you for letting us mention it.
Oh yeah, definitely.
No, for sure.
I know we're really looking forward to it to see what that ends up like.
And I got one more thing I want to put over. If you're an old wrestling fan, go over to markoutmoments.net.
Mm-hmm.
And there's some videos that I'm doing called That Boy Was Busy. And I've done 5 of them now. And all I'm doing is taking a 30-day snapshot of a wrestler that was busy. I did Ric Flair from 1979. I did Hulk Hogan from 1983. I did Magnum TA. I've done Andre the Giant. Andre the Giant was fun because for the years that I did them, I did a Harley Race. Man, Harley Race is October of 83 is crazy. Absolutely crazy. Just to go and to look at the results for 30 days and see how much they're traveling. But man, Harley Race was going from Texas to Missouri to Florida to Oregon to back across to the East Coast and then to Japan.
Goodness.
I mean, in a month.
Yeah.
I mean, you're looking at some of these guys working 24, 25 times a month.
I mean, that travel alone is exhausting. Then you're wrestling every night.
Yeah, I mean, like the first part of the month, he was in there with six Hall of Famers.
Good.
And I'm not talking about guys that were just mentioned and put in later. I'm talking about 6 legitimate on stage Hall of Famers getting their stuff. So it's a fun project for me. 8 minutes is a long episode on there. I mean, so you got 6 to 8 minutes to watch them. I think they're fascinating.
Awesome. Sounds like a good show. I'll have to check that out.
I'm enjoying doing it. It's just not a lot to it. It's just reading results. But if you like old wrestling, you'll find yourself going over to cagematch.net and punching in your favorite wrestler and finding out what he was doing all those years ago. Thought about doing a Roman Reigns episode from 2020, but
it would be brief.
22nd episode.
That boy was busy doing everything but wrestling.
Well, thanks for showing up tonight, Dave.
On the Tribal Chief, throw the ones.
Thank y'all for having me on.
Originally, we had planned, we didn't call Dave on here or invite him on because Alison was not going to be here. It just kind of happened that way.
Yeah, she was supposed to be here with us. Because I bet you that woman has some strong opinions on chips.
Right. She'll let us know. We'll find out next week in next week's episode what her thoughts are.
Yeah.
But it worked out.
Yeah, the producer's pissed is going to be mad that we went 2 hours and 32 minutes.
That's okay.
Yeah, I told my wife, I said, Allison's not going to be there. So, there ain't no telling.
This is what happens.
I said, you know how I am with my friends. We'll be on all night.
Well, we did this about football 2.5 hours sometimes.
Yeah,
that's how we used to do.
StreamYard's not doing y'all's clips this week.
Thank you, Amy.
Over 2 hours, they won't do. StreamYard will do your AI clips and give you some shorts or reels, but you got to be under 2 hours. And we were going. Right. We were the other night. We were trying to get done, and I'm watching the clock, and it got to. We went 2 minutes, 2 hours and 10 seconds, and I was so mad because the last thing I went was like shit. Because while we got the last word out with like at 1:59:59, you hit end and it takes a second, and it went on 10 more seconds trying to close.
Just spins.
Yeah. That's all right.
I don't ever know if people are hearing what I'm saying, so I kind of shut up for a minute after I hit stop in case people are still hearing me. But anyway, thank you for coming on. Great 2.5 hour episode. It's been a while since we've done one this long.
Man, I love you guys. Y'all are my favorites.
It was a lot of great topics, a lot of good wrestling content. The chips list was great. Food lists always do really well for us.
Well, if I can't watch y'all live, I definitely listen to you on Apple.
We appreciate it.
And
we certainly appreciate
y'all
it.
Can't miss for me. I love this show. I love the format of the show. Y'all are so funny.
Well, listen, y'all are going to have to help me here because I'm going to try to name off everybody that was in the chat. Thank you to Amy, Alex, Heather, Devin. Who else did we have? We had
somebody with a LeBron James joke.
Yeah, that was a random person, I think, that happened to see us on Twitter.
Brian Haremza was here.
No, they were on YouTube. They commented on YouTube.
Yeah.
Wendy D's 76.
Yeah, and don't forget about Bober. Bober was here.
Bober was here early. That was
Yeah.
I knew there was one more missing. So thank you.
Gianni Martello was here.
He was.
Gianni
yeah.
was here. Yeah. Before
Thank
you
you,
wrap it
Gianni.
up, I want to let you all know Halliburton blew his Achilles out in the finals.
Oh,
Game 7.
Game 7. So he blew his Achilles out, and it looks like Oklahoma City's about to win the championship. They're 15
Damn.
points up.
sorry about
There's
that,
our
Dawkins. I
NBA
cursed y'all.
content for the year.
Well, he's also a wrestling fan, Terry. That's why we mentioned Tyrese Halliburton. So
God almighty.
but he blew the Achilles out.
I can't catch a break on teams winning.
Yeah.
I did our own Stanley Cup. I was pulling for the Florida Panthers.
Over Edmonton?
Oh yeah, Edmonton's
How about
fans.
that? I knew who was in the stand.
Their
We didn't
fans
mention that one either.
their fans are horrible.
Oh, I
Except
thought
the one,
fans
except that
were
big titty girl that was flashing last year. She was all right. But other than that, I mean, their fans were horrible. That's pretty bad when I'm pulling for when I'm pulling for the team that Tkachuk plays for. You know that when you can baby face Tkachuk, you're pretty horrible.
There you go. There it
There's
is,
the
Terry.
man with a hockey puck behind his ear on a wrestling belt, apparently.
That's right.
Chat GPT.
They
Thank
know
you,
a lot
Dave,
about it.
again. Thank you, Andrew. We love you, Alison. Have a blast on your cruise. And to wrap it up, as always, love your people. Tell them you love them. Make it weird. See you next time, everybody.